Hey everyone, वेलकम टू माय चैनल फीलियर जितेश। मैं आज आप लोगों के लिए पॉलिटी के लेक्चर्स बहुत ही एक फेमस कोचिंग के अपलोड कर रहा हूँ। प्लीज़ कोई स्ट्राइक कोई कंप्लेन मत कीजिएगा, ये सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए हैं जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं। मैं पहले ही माफ़ी मांग रहा हूँ, बाद में आप लोग ये मत कहिएगा कि आप चोरी कर रहे हो, ऐसा कर रहे हो, वैसा कर रहे हो। देखिए, मेरे को भी कहीं से मिले तो मुझे लगा कि उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए डाल दिए जाएँ, जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। मैं भी उनमें से ही हूँ एक। मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग इसका भरपूर इस्तेमाल करें, अच्छे से पढ़ें। दीज आर दी बेस्ट लेक्चर्स एंड मैं भी इससे पढ़ रहा हूँ, आप लोग भी इससे पढ़ो। एंड कोशिश करूँगा जल्द से जल्द सारे लेक्चर्स डाल दूँ। तो प्लीज़ अच्छे से पढ़िए। अब सही समय है सही से तैयारी करने का, तो अच्छे से तैयारी करिए। चलिए, आई होप यू विल लव दी लेक्चर्स। प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल।
Hey, but then how could you approach it? और भी बढ़िया. Any problem in these questions? हाँ, वही first question. See this. I'll rate this test very good. Reason being, only these kind of questions come in exam. Where ambiguity in options will remain. Some people will agree with that, others will not. अब ये देखो, ये बोल रहा है why we could not implement some DPSPs. Okay. Sir, एक example दो when DPSP which was not implemented well till now. UCC. भाई, Uniform Civil Code has not been implemented well till now. अभी तक उसको नहीं किया हमने. And you feel that the answer should be opposition from the society, है ना? Take this option also, okay? Opposition from the society means some people feel that if this DPSP UCC could not be implemented because society oppose it. Society इसको oppose कर रही है कि नहीं हमें नहीं चाहिए UCC, particularly the Muslim community, है ना? अब आप ये देखो, is that a case that the 100% Muslims are opposing UCC? ऐसा तो नहीं है. Only a fraction of that, mostly men, or men may be the people who are involved in the religious affairs. If you are an urban educated Muslim, you may not agree with this fact that you do not want UCC. आप बोलोगे UCC चाहिए हमको, Uniform Civil Code. You want modern laws to be made so that the condition of women in this religion also improves, or at least she is not exploited. So all 100% people from this community are not opposed to UCC, पहली बात. And that community itself is not the whole India or the whole society. But are we only having Muslim? No. Muslims are only a fraction of the whole society. And even in Muslim community, there is one faction which opposes UCC. है कि नहीं है? So the fraction which is opposing this DPSP is not the representative of the whole society. तो यहाँ ये आंसर गलत हो जाता है कि नहीं है? Some people, देखो आप ये देखो, can you actually bring a law which will be accepted by everyone? ऐसा तो कानून कभी बन ही नहीं सकता. So that way, this should apply in every case. Why could they implement other DPSP? Am I clear in my audition? Why could we apply other DPSPs? वहां भी तो opposition हुआ था. 73rd, 74th Amendment Act, which was Panchayati Raj institution. When government brought the law to bring the Panchayati Raj institution with the constitutional status, then also some people opposed that. भाई हमें नहीं चाहिए पंचायत, there will be casteism. But उसको भी आपने implement किया ना? You implement 73rd, 74th Amendment Act or not? आपने पंचायत बनाई. Even opposition was to panchayats also. Now if you can implement all these things even when many people oppose that, how can you not implement this? Reason? Fear of loss of vote bank. Actually, I forgot to give you a note on UCC. I told somebody to remind me, but then he did not, and I also forgot. UCC पे मैं आपको एक note भी दूंगा, half page का. What is the background of uniform civil code and why it did not come, or when it came and was taken back. In the next class I'll do that. ठीक है ना? You got the point or not? Society नहीं है. The people who are opposing uniform civil code, they are not the whole society. They are just a minor fraction of the society.
But sir, if that is a minor fraction of society who doesn't want to give,
Very small.
fine. But then again, the option given number two, lack of political will, that is also a minor part.
नहीं,
That
देखो मैं
politics
बताता हूँ आपको, सुनो.
not all politicians.
बिल्कुल, I agree with you, and I knew that you will say this only. See this thing. Once in one of the cases, Shahabano case, in this case, Shahabano was a woman who was divorced by her husband, and she was aged lady and poor also. Now at this old age, when you are divorced by your husband and you don't have any source of income, what will you do? You will be just like a destitute. She went to court. भैया मुझे, I have been divorced by my husband, I have no source of income, where will I go? Supreme Court said, let's abolish the rule whereby a man who is at a higher position vis-a-vis women cannot divorce the women बस just by saying तलाक तलाक तलाक. ये रूल खत्म करो. And for every society, every religion, there should be a common rule for divorce, for adoption, for marriage. और वो सब पे अप्लाई होगा. And that law should be made scientifically. उन्होंने ये जजमेंट दे दी. Government was bound to implement it. Government under Rajiv Gandhi, then to counter the judgment of Supreme Court, what they did? They brought a law. उन्होंने कानून बना दिया. Because when Supreme Court gave the judgment that you bring uniform civil code, then there was a huge protest across India. Of course, by that section only. Rajiv Gandhi now, no, you should not name anybody in this exam, let me tell you again. But that government, by politics of the government is represented by the government. Government did what? Government brought a new law by which, a law का नाम क्या रखा? Protection of Women Act. नाम दिया protection. You know, but what were the clauses? They gave some provisions. For example, if tomorrow the man will divorce the woman, he will give her this, he will give her that. But then at the end, they also said that this system of talaq, talaq, talaq will continue. Or this religion will be driven by the personal law of the religion. वो रहेगा. समझ रहे हो? They actually countered the judgment of Supreme Court by bringing a new law. और यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड आ ही नहीं पाया. Government had a very good opportunity to bring uniform civil code, but they did not. In fact, they bring a law which cut down the judgment of Supreme Court. अब government क्या है? Government is the polity of the country or not? This clearly shows there was a lack of will. Court is saying you, women are asking for these things. Why don't you bring this? Fear of loss of votes. A whole community could have turned against them. Fearing this, they brought a law which quashed uniform civil code. खत्म. Directly quash नहीं किया उन्होंने. They brought a law. एक clause डाल दिया उसके अंदर that in the area of marriage, adoption, divorce, every religion personal law will continue. हर religion का law apply होगा. There will not be a common law. समझ रहे हो? खत्म कहानी. Is it not a lack of political will? यही तो है. ठीक है सर? Otherwise, could you actually attempt more than 60% questions? नहीं कर पाए? Could you attempt, sir? कर पाए ना आप लोग? And if you see, the secret to answer these questions is this. Source वही है, which I told you earlier. This test has been deliberately made to make you aware of the importance of both these things, and particularly the book. Because everything cannot be just dictated to you. काफी सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको वहां से भी पढ़नी है. Though I drop a hint on those fronts. और जो ज्यादा complicated है वो तो I discuss in at length. ठीक है ना? Do not ignore this book also, because he will also not ignore who? The person who will set the paper. वो वहां से एक फैक्ट उठा के डाल देगा, यू विल बी कंफ्यूज, यार ये तो क्लास में हुआ ही नहीं था. आई एम टेलिंग यू अगेन एंड अगेन, द मेथड टू रीड और टू प्रिपेयर फॉर पॉलिटी इज दिस. पॉलिटी प्रिपेयर करने का तरीका ये है, कम टू द क्लास, बी अलर्ट ऑल थ्रू, टेक एवरी बिट, इवन इफ समथिंग इज सेड इन अ लाइटर सेंस, यू शुड ड्रॉ मीनिंग फ्रॉम दैट. उसमें कोई रीजन होगा, नथिंग विल बी सेड विदाउट एनी रीजन. राइट दैट. उसके बाद यू गो होम, दैट डे इटसेल्फ यू रिवाइज द नोट्स. उसी दिन रिवाइज करो. रिवीजन में कितना टाइम लगता है? 3 hours ऑफ द क्लास, इफ यू सी, यू गेट ओनली 8 pages ऑफ नोट्स. 3 घंटे में सिर्फ 8 पेजेस तो मिलते हैं नोट्स आपको. यू कैन रिवाइज दोस नोट्स विद इन हाफ एन आवर और इवन इन 20 minutes if you revise them today itself. उसके बाद if you have time the next day, that same chapter, please do that chapter from Lakshmikant also. तो साथ साथ चलता रहेगा. And if you are taking this test seriously, I can vouch for the fact that nobody can give you a competition after that. इससे ऊपर कुछ नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. Class attention, this book, and you take the test very seriously. Nobody can beat you after that. I can say this not only for polity, but for every topic. And then you need not clear pre in 3 years or 4 years time. एक बारी में. Only thing required is your dedication and attention continuously for 1 year. एक साल की मेहनत चाहिए. Then you will grow and the results will be in front of you. Getting me, sir? Institute is giving the best, which any institute can give to you. No institute will run parallelly along with you. Class is taken, within 1 week a test is given to you. And let me tell you, this test is no ordinary test. Made by people who are expert in this area, and they have proved to be highly successful all through in making this test. इसी को लोग इतना पे करके they are appearing for this, they are taking this test, which is given to you free of cost. Of course, पैसे तो लिए हैं, but then फिर भी. What I mean to say is that take the best from us and give the best to UPSC. ठीक है sir? Now this is it. Tell me, where did we end yesterday? पन्ने मत पलटो. बताओ कहां पे खत्म किया था? ये भी पेज पलट बोलो. Everybody is flipping the page. कहां खत्म किया था? Sir, where did we end? Neutrality. What is the other name given to civil servants neutrality? इसका दूसरा नाम क्या है? बोलो. What? Is, I mean, if he is asking you this, he might put another word. अरे कल बताया था मैंने. Civil servants neutrality is also called as, very good, political neutrality of civil servants. Unbiased है, that is the meaning. बताओ, what is the meaning when I say that this civil servant is neutral? इसका मतलब क्या है? If I say this particular civil servant is neutral, what will be his behavior? Very good. He is not biased for or against any? Very good. Any political party. पहली चीज तो ये. Second feature? Very good. He will give advices to the minister. भाई मंत्री को यही तो एडवाइस करेगा. This civil servant will advise the minister all the advices which are technically sound as well as politically sound. Politically unsound भी नहीं देनी है, ठीक है ना? Technically and politically right statement देनी है. If you are neutral, you will not just give politically right statement or advices to the minister, which might be technically flawed. Third thing, third feature, if you are neutral, sir. हाँ जी, not emotional, वो तो है ही. बोलो बोलो, हाँ बोलो यार. नो फियर तो उसका एक आउटकम है, ठीक है. नो फियर एक फीचर भी है. इफ आई से आई एम न्यूट्रल एज अ सिविल सर्वेंट, इसके तीन बेसिक मतलब है. फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट आई एम नॉट बायस इन द फेवर ऑफ एनी पार्टी. मैं किसी पार्टी को स्पेशल अटेंशन नहीं देता. सेकंड थिंग इज दैट आई गिव द बेस्ट एडवाइस टू द मिनिस्टर. थर्ड थिंग क्या है, आप ये देखो, did I not give you the example when he's a civil servant under BJP, he will not come in saffron clothes and utter out Hanuman Chalisa. When the same will come to under CPI, he will not come in shorts. बताया था ना. So that was not for your entertainment. That was given so that you can remember it. Yes. If he is neutral, he will not be influenced by the personal ideology. पढ़ के आया करो यार प्लीज. If you are neutral, you will not be influenced by the personal ideology of the government in power. CPI favors labor movement, बहुत अच्छी बात है. But if they are favoring the labor movement somehow violates the constitution, then you should not agree with that. One party may be having a religious inclination. If their religious inclination is against constitution, you may not agree with that. One party may be favoring industrialist, ये उनके personal ideology है. But if they favor them beyond the limit, beyond the constitutional jurisdiction or beyond the constitutional provisions, you say no. I will not do this as a civil servant. ये गलत है. तभी तो आप neutral कहलाओगे. If you say yes, yes, yes to everything said by the government or the minister, even if it is wrong, then you are not neutral. You are biased. Understand this? अब ये चीज है. Now we shall continue from here only, and I'll tell you how the neutrality element in civil servants has kept on evolving or changing. नेहरू जी के टाइम में क्या था? When we got independence, what was the status of neutrality of civil servant? देखो, this topic is not mostly about facts. It is also about how you feel the subject. Imagine करो, feel करो उसको. During Nehruvian era, my question is, ये मेरा question है, were civil servant more neutral or less neutral? Less neutral. Why less neutral? They were favoring वन पार्टी सिस्टम थी, तो आई विल नॉट बिकम बायस्ड. देखो ये बोल रहे हैं दैट ड्यूरिंग नेहरूवियन टाइम्स सिविल सर्वेंट वर मोर न्यूट्रल. दिस इज व्हाट ही सेड, विच इज द राइट आंसर. सही है वो आंसर. दे वर मोर न्यूट्रल. अब सवाल ये उठता है, मेनी पीपल से फ्रॉम वेयर केम द क्वेश्चन ऑफ न्यूट्रलिटी. तब तो पार्टी ही एक थी. लेट मी टेल यू, इवन ड्यूरिंग नेहरूवियन टाइम देयर वर मेनी पार्टीज. Apart from Congress, there were many parties. That is a different thing that Congress was ruling. But CPI भी थी तब भी. Okay. हाँ, जनसंघ and many regional political parties were there. Okay. You could have got bias in the favor of them also. Understanding or not? Even during Nehruvian time, it was not only one party. One party was in power, but still there were many parties. You could have got biased in their favor. But thankfully, the civil servants during Nehruvian time, they did not get biased either in the favor of the ruling party or in the favor of any other party. एक चीज और, neutrality, it also means that I as a civil servant, माना एक ही पार्टी थी, agreed that there was only one party, Congress, but was there only one minister? Minister तो बहुत सारे थे. Mr. Patel was there, Nehru was there, and many others were there. If I choose not to be neutral, do not write, just listen. If I choose not to be neutral, is it not a possibility that I favor Patel and I do not favor Pandit Nehru? ऐसा तो हो सकता था. Many people know that Pandit Nehru and Sardar Patel, they were not on the same table on every issue. उनकी frequency हमेशा match नहीं भी करती थी. It could have been a possibility that even if Congress was ruling, me as a civil servant, I started favoring Patel or Nehru, and I started becoming biased against the other camp. ऐसा भी तो हो सकता था. But this was not a case which was usually seen. ऐसा देखा नहीं जाता था. ये मैं आपको बताना चाह रहा हूं. During Nehruvian times, 50s or early 60s, the civil servants were neutral. पहली बात, they did not favor any party, any political party, whether in power or in opposition. दूसरी चीज, these civil servants did not favor any minister or any individual or any personality for wrong reasons. कोई गलत काम नहीं करते थे वो लोग. And this way, the civil services of India got a name, earned a title. What was the title given to the civil services of India during for the initial years? हाँ जी बोलो. एक नाम देते थे इनको फेमस. Civil services of India, since they were so efficient, they were neutral, they earned a title. उनको एक वो मिला टाइटल, वायलेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 18. क्या टाइटल था वो? Steel frame of Indian administration. Steel, you understand or not? Now, can somebody justify why these civil services of India? I'll dictate. Don't worry, मैं लिखाऊंगा आपको. बस अभी समझो आप लोग. Will somebody tell me why this name steel frame of Indian administration given to civil services of India? अंग्रेजों के टाइम में भी यही नाम था. And we became independent. They continued with this name. प्यार से उनको ये बोलते थे. They are the steel frame. They were rigid. Rigid तो सही है, but rigid has a negative connotation. ये अच्छी सेंस में बोल रहे हैं हम. देखो इसको, to explain you this, let me take an example, because I prefer to explain all these things using some sadak sharp example only, and this is it. ये लग रहा है फ्रेम जैसा. चलो, इट्स लुकिंग लाइक अ बॉक्स. आई होप सो. ठीक है सर, बताओ सर अपना शुभ नाम बताओ. टुडे आई विल बी नीडिंग वॉलंटियर्स. तभी समझ में आएगी ये बात. डरने की जरूरत नहीं है. आईपीएस ऑफ ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट एरा. कोई बात नहीं, स्लोली विल कम टू कलर ऑल्सो. इमेजिन that he was IPS officer of 1950s and he joined as DSP. Today is the first day. Be very relaxed, but just understand, don't write. Today is the first day of his in office. ये पहले ही दिन ऑफिस में गए. He took charge as DSP. A phone rang. फोन आया किसका? होम मिनिस्टर. होम मिनिस्टर himself called him up and told him, welcome Mr. Gaurav, welcome to the service. He stood from the seat. आखिर होम मिनिस्टर का फोन आया. Thank you very much sir. होम मिनिस्टर said, Gaurav, today you have got your first assignment directly from me. मैं आपको आपका पहला असाइनमेंट देता हूं. ठीक है सर. इसने बोला yes sir, what I can do for you. Minister said, see, there is one rival of mine, Mr. X. ये Mr. X मेरे राइवल हैं. तब भी राइवल होते थे. Okay. You have to eliminate him. भाई गन तो आईपीएस के पास ही. यू हैव टू एलिमिनेट हिम. आई हर्ड दैट यू गॉट गोल्ड मेडल इन द एकेडमी. व्हाट विल योर रेस्पॉन्स सर? अरे बोलो, क्या बोलोगे? है मना कर दोगे. बहुत बढ़िया. ही विल से नो विदाउट थिंकिंग. आफ्टर ऑल मिस्टर एक्स इज द राइवल ऑफ द मिनिस्टर. ही हैज नॉट डन एनीथिंग रॉन्ग. अब राइवलरी में थोड़ी ना उड़ाया जाएगा किसी को. तो he will say no, I will not do this. पहले दिन था ये. Okay. Next day, the same minister again called him up. Mr. Gaurav, please rethink on your decision. If you eliminate him, I'll give you 5,000 rupees also. उस that time 5,000 rupees was a big amount. ठीक है, आज के 1 लाख के बराबर है. 5,000 रुपए मिलेंगे आपको. What will you say, sir? फिर मना. थर्ड डे फिर फोन आ गया. Mr. Gaurav, please eliminate Mr. X. I'll give you not only 5,000 rupees, I'll also make you directly the JCP from ACP without becoming DCP. सीधा out of turn promotion. आप क्या बोलोगे? फिर मना कर दिया इन्होंने. And fourth day, irritated, he again called him up. गौरव सोच लो. अब मिस्टर मिस्टर कुछ नहीं सीधा. गौरव सोच लो. You eliminate Mr. X or I find Mr. Y who will eliminate X as well as you. अब अभी भी डटे हुए नहीं. I will not do this. And last threat came, Mr. Gaurav, eliminate X or I will eliminate. यूथ का तो पहले भी बोल चुके हैं, I'll eliminate your loved ones. ऐसा होता है. And since he was a IPS officer of 1950s, IPS civil servant होता है कि नहीं होता? Yes, he is also civil servant. He will say finally, no sir, game over, and he will also disconnect the phone. कल से आएगा ही नहीं फोन. कहानी खत्म. Did you not see that arrows were increasing? Arrows क्या है? Pressure है. Pressure was increasing on this fellow who was a civil servant himself. Did you see a change in the shape of the system? इनके ऑफिस की शेप में कोई चेंज दिखा आपको? नो. प्रेशर kept on increasing, but he did not budge. इनका आंसर एक ही था, नो, I will not do anything which is unconstitutional, which is wrong, just to make you happy. Because he was a civil servant of Nehruvian times. He did not work to make the minister happy. He did not work to become biased towards the party in power. He worked to follow the constitution according to the rules laid. Getting me? Means he could save his what? Neutrality. Had he said yes, he would have got biased towards the minister. खत्म. अगर आप bias हुए तो क्या चीज चली गई? Neutrality. He could save his neutrality even under immense pressure. ये था steel frame. Steel की खासियत यही तो होती है. This is the feature of steel. If you are made of steel, what will happen? You put any pressure, steel will not mold. तभी बोलते थे that the civil servants of 1950s, they together made the civil services of India, and civil services of India was so rigid, so tough. You put any pressure, they will not get mold. वो अपनी shape बरकरार रहेंगे. They could maintain their integrity. They could maintain their neutrality. ये तब की बात थी. Today, 2016, same IPS. नहीं अभी ज्वाइन नहीं हुई है 2016 में. अभी ये ज्वाइन किया है. He's a young recruit. And see, this is not said by me. This is said by second ARC. इन्होंने बोला ये second ARC, Administrative Reform Commission. Who was heading the second ARC? Administrative Reform Commission is a commission formed to give recommendation for the overall improvement of the administration. Virappa Moily, okay, congressman, second ARC, Virappa Moily के अंडर में था. He gave number of reports regarding various aspects of the administration, and one report was regarding the civil services, in which he said that gone are the days. Do not write, I'll tell you. सुनो सिर्फ. In which he said, gone are the days when the civil servants of India or the civil services of India was a steel frame. आज क्या है? He is Mr. Gaurav. Now before he enters, अभी ACP है, commissionerate system चालू है. Now when he enters the office, he will do what? He will do a thorough research before he enters office. कौन किसका rival है? वो पहले study करके आएंगे. For example, he will actually have the knowledge of this, that the home minister is this, or home minister rival कौन? Mr. Y. Today, this is a scenario that even if the minister has not called him, he will call the minister. Good morning, sir. This is the new ACP of this area. Can I eliminate Y? I have heard that he is your rival. खुद ही अपनी सर्विस देने को तैयार है. And leave aside his own interest. If he gets a little pressure from minister, मंत्री जी एक बार बोल दे, yaar, eliminate him. Within hours or within minutes, the work will be done. Little pressure came, pressure or inducement. लालच देंगे या डराएंगे? And he is ready to get mold. Flexibility इतनी है that they are ready to do anything for favors and of course returns in return of the favors. समझ रहे हो सर? You put little pressure on the system today and system will get mold. The steel frame has now become what? Plastic frame. Plastic frame यही तो होती है. Plastic क्या होता है? You put little pressure on plastic, plastic will get mold. पूरा system आजकल ऐसा ही है. This is not the fact that everyone is like him, I mean like this fellow. But right now we are discussing the gray area of civil services. So I am highlighting this. After some time I will tell the good parts also. Okay? Answer balance करके लिखना है. Do not write the whole civil services has corrupted. है कि नहीं है? You understood this or not? Steel frame and plastic frame. Today civil services or the officers combine, civil servants, they are so much ready, eager to express their loyalty towards the party in power or towards the minister that they can go to any extent to do wrong things. अब मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछता हूं. Tell me, this is the civil services machinery or this is the collection of the civil servant. Sir, आप बताओ, ये civil servant है. I say, if their neutrality is lost, अगर ये bias हो जाते हैं, if they lose their neutrality, who is responsible for this? इनके ऊपर minister बैठा है. Of course, minister is controlling the civil servant. आप बताओ sir, if this fellow has lost his neutrality, if he is ready to extend favors for wrong reasons also, who is responsible for this? He himself. सिस्टम तो ये खुद है. हाँ, तो आप ये बोलो ना, मिनिस्टर ऑल्सो है कि नहीं है? वेरी गुड. दे बोथ आर रेस्पॉन्सिबल. डिड आई नॉट गिव द एग्जाम्पल? अभी तो मैंने आपको एग्जाम्पल दिया. Sometime me as a civil servant, I am greedy. I myself tell to the minister, sir, tell me whatever wrong things you want to get done, I'll do it because I have the power to do them. सारे आपके गलत काम कर दूंगा. Or if he is not ready to do the wrong things, who will get the wrong things done? Minister. मंत्री जी जबरदस्ती करवा देंगे आपसे. Case in point, D. Ravi. D. Ravi was a young IAS officer, 2009 batch. He lost his life or not? Karnataka cadre IAS officer, D. Ravi, who was found hanging in his room, hanging of course with neck, found hanging in his room, was said to be behind the spread of the land mafia in Bangalore. Builders lobby ke khilaf, he was taking action. He was about to expose many big builders and their nexus with the minister. The very next day he was killed. He wanted to work according to the rules. He wanted not to favor anyone. He wanted to punish everyone who was at wrong sides of the law. हुआ क्या? Pressure came from the higher up. He said, no, I will not do wrong things. ठीक है? Eliminated. Nagpur DM. It was an incident which happened 7-8 years ago, but I'm still taking this example because it actually sends a message. Nagpur DM, Nagpur Maharashtra में ना, Nagpur DM, he was actually active against the oil mafia in the region. Oil mafia means petrol में जो मिलावट करते हैं. Adulteration in petrol is done by a big lobby. Now he was taking action against that adulteration. They were politically connected. This man was given threats by the minister himself. Are you just keep away from this adulteration business. You have others work to do. He said, no, this is wrong and this is wrong is happening in my area. I will not close my eyes just to make you happy. And he kept on pursuing these people who were involved in adulteration business in connivance with the minister. The result was it was said that the political class got him eliminated. He was burnt alive. ये डराने के लिए नहीं, but this is what I mean to tell you is that sometimes the civil servant himself is greedy. He wants to become biased in the favor of minister or party so that he tomorrow can take best from the party. But your promotion is in the hands of whom? Political class. Today you are sitting over me. You told me do this wrong thing. I said okay sir, अभी कर देता हूँ. सारे आपके गलत काम किए मैंने all through my life. Today I retired. What will you do for me now? आप मुझे गवर्नर बना दोगे or not? Or you may do something good for me in return. And if I am a civil servant who is not ready to sell my neutrality or to sell my integrity, you will harass me beyond my tolerance, and either I will leave the service or you will make me leave the world. Famous IAS officer, Haryana cadre, Ashok Khemka, he was transferred 42 times, 42 बार, in a very short span of time. And he was transferred in most unceremonious way. There is a whole procedure for transfer or not. And whenever he was transferred, the person who is junior to him, he told him, sir, you have been transferred, now please go. No official communication was sent to him. Means, since you do not want to favor the political class for wrong reasons, they will harass you. And they will harass you till you say, okay sir, I bow in front of you, I am ready to become biased in your favor, you tell me what wrong is to be done. But only few IAS officers and IPS and of course civil servants are there who have spine of steel, who can withstand the pressure. अब बहुत कम बचे हैं, still भाई तभी तो system चल रहा है. There are still few IAS civil servants who are maintaining their integrity, who are still having their neutrality intact, who have not become biased towards any minister for wrong reasons. But ज्यादातर की neutrality जा चुकी है, as per second ARC. Understood this? और नेहरू जी के टाइम पे ज्यादा सही था. Under Nehru time or even after him for some years, this neutrality of civil servant was intact. What could be the reason? Initial stage of what? तो initial stage में सब सही चलता है. पाकिस्तान को ले लो. Pakistan, even in the initial years, it was haphazard. Though you are right, it will take some time to become corrupt. But what is that thing that could actually prevent them from becoming biased? Very good. पहली बात, she said, the ruling party or the political class itself was concerned about development. उनकी ये चीज better थी. See this. Value system. The politicians of the early years of independence, they were having their good value, sound value system, which to ask them to focus towards the nation and the development rather than accumulation of the wealth. And for them, politics was not a full-time career. Politics was a way to serve the society. Most of them were full-time lawyers. Politics वो इसलिए करते थे so that they can do anything good for, well, it was like a social service. हाँ, बिल्कुल. And not only politicians were having strong value system, which put nation before their own interest. एक चीज और भी थी. What was that? एक तो नेताजी सही थे. They never forced the civil servant to do anything wrong or to extend them favors. भाई मुझे तुम्हारा फेवर नहीं चाहिए, अपना काम करो. What was the other reason? There was the values of the civil servants were also intact. Abhi just I gave you example. Reason that a civil servant will become biased towards the Netaji can be two. The political pressure which is coming from upper side or your own greed. So यहाँ तो civil servant भी greedy नहीं थे. These civil servants themselves were not greedy. Even if the political class put pressure on them, they said, no sir, This is against the law, this is against the constitution, I will not follow your dictate. इनकी अपनी वैल्यू सिस्टम भी तो अच्छी थी. So they worked according to the rules, they never worked to make the minister happy. And this way neutrality of the civil servant was kept intact. और एक चीज और थी, as he said, the civil servant, these civil servants are nothing but the offspring of British civil services. ये सब वही तो थे पुराने वाले जो चले आ रहे थे. They have been under a big disciplined system. अंग्रेज एक काम अच्छा कर गए थे. They brought discipline in the service. They brought discipline in the army, and they carried that legacy forward. ठीक है ना सर? So neutrality of the civil services, civil servant was intact because both the minister as well as the civil servants, they were having strong value system which asked to work for the nation, not for the self-interest. ये चीज बिगड़नी शुरू हुई कब? कब बिगड़ी ये? Do not write after Indira Gandhi. You write second half of 60s में थोड़ा थोड़ा डाइल्यूशन होने लगा because value system of the society started to change. अब सबको luxury चाहिए थी. Write down this first. During Nehruvian era, start with a new paragraph. During Nehruvian era, नेहरू जी के टाइम में, keep reading what you're writing. The concept of political neutrality, the concept of political neutrality of civil servants was very much visible. Neither समझ के लिखना, you'll have the fun of your life. Neither the political masters misused their power. Neither the political masters misused their power to wrongly influence the civil servants, nor the very good, nor the civil servants themselves, seeked, S-E-E-K-E-D, seek means to look, seeked any political patronage. Patronage means chhatra chaya. Both took decisions. Both means civil servant and the minister. Both took decisions with only one consideration in mind. That is nation's interest. देश का विकास. That is nation's interest. And thus civil services of India continued to be called as steel frame of Indian administration. Change the paragraph. However, by second half of 1960s, now this was a time when Indira Gandhi came to power, okay, second half mein. And one thing happened more along with that. एक तो you had a typical type of political personality in position who was quite strong, or you can say the same thing as who was quite authoritarian. पहली बात तो ये, ऐसे नेता आ गए थे अब ऊपर. They were highly authoritarian. Second, there was one more thing which brought a dilution in the neutrality. The civil servants' neutrality started to come down. अब जो उनकी neutrality थी वो क्या होने लगी? Dilute. The neutrality or the unbiased working of the civil servant, which was intact during Nehruvian time, started to become corroded now, started to become diluted now in the second half of 1960s. But why it happened so? This is my question. Think and give the answer. What majority? बहुत बढ़िया. Can you explain that, sir? हाँ. और 67 में क्या हुआ? Yes. See, 1967 was the year when what happened? 1967, something happened. ये योगेंद्र यादव है ना, आम आदमी पार्टी. He is a political scientist. He said 1967 was a year of, do not write, listen first. He said 1967 was a year of first democratic upsurge. 1967, for the first time, number of states got non-Congress government. Before 1967, center was ruled by Congress. Center में Congress. Every state was ruled by Congress except Kerala. Kerala में नहीं था, बाकी हर जगह कांग्रेस थी. Before 1967. In 1967, when elections took place in the states, number of states got the government which is non-Congress for the first time. पहली बार in number of states came the non-Congress government. ठीक है? Now example ये ले लो, ये दो states. अब ये democratic upsurge है कि नहीं? Is it not a democratic upsurge? If you can change the government, it means now you have become active. Till 1967, you were just seeing हाथ कहाँ है और उस पर स्टैम्प मारते थे. Congress was coming in power everywhere and you were not opposing it. Was it actually a fact that everything was okay? No. The fact was that you were not active about your rights. You thought that voting is a formality. You vote to any party and every party will work for you. By 1967, democracy in India became active and they thought that if we want to bring the real benefit for India, we should change the government. And number of states got non-Congress government. पहली बार. Okay, sir? Means democracy was active now. I think this question came to you in the first test also. ऐसा कुछ. When you have a democratic system, the government in power or the party in power can also lose. ये क्वेश्चन डाला था उन्होंने आपके टेस्ट के अंदर. ठीक है ना? 1967 for the first time came number of states non-Congress government. अब हुआ क्या? See, earlier, before 1967, center ruled by Congress, states ruled by Congress. What is the result? Same. There was no conflict. ये थी ये. Peace. And there was somebody who was serving both. Who was that somebody? All India Services people. Did I not tell you yesterday that All India Services officers are like, they serve two entities, central government as well as state government. Selection hota hai center se, then they are given a state, you work there. they work in the state, they again come back to center, they again go to the state, again come back to the center. This way they keep working in two areas, center as well as state. And even in the state, listen this very carefully, and even in the state, ye dekho, for example, if this is the state government, who are the officers who are occupying the top positions? All India services officers. किसी भी डिपार्टमेंट को ले लो, whether it is education department, whether it is home department, whether it is finance department, कोई भी department उठा लो, who is the person who is the top person in the department? IAS. Means actually it is the IAS and IPS who are running the administration on their shoulders. The remaining officers are working under them. ठीक है ना सर? It means all India services officers are very critical for the administration. And if you control them, you control the whole administration. अगर ये ऑफिसर्स आपके कंट्रोल में है तो आपका पूरा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन आपके हाथ में है. गेटिंग दिस और नॉट? अब हुआ ये that 1967 for the first time non-Congress government came, and from here started differences or conflict or ego clash. The tendency of center was such that we will not cooperate with the states ruled by opposition party. उन्हें सबक सिखाएंगे. After all, we are a federal system with unitary bias. Center government had more powers. And center government also had one instrument. एक जादू की छड़ी थी उनके हाथ में. By that gadget, they could actually harass the states. What was that gadget? हाँ गवर्नर तो है ही, but we are discussing what? All India services. Center government had an instrument in their hand, or a chhadi in their hand. Using this magic wand, they can actually harass the state government. Now my question is how? Will somebody tell how all India? सोच के बताना. Will somebody tell me how? If I am center, सोचो मैं center हूं, and these are the states, how can I harass or bully the states ruled by opposition party through all India services officers? बताओ सर. हाँ ऊंची आवाज में बोलो. वेरी गुड. पहली बात ही सेड, देखो अभी मैंने आपको बताया this is state government 2, state government 3, both ruled by non-Congress. Just now I told you who will be the officer who will be at the top of the state administration. Mostly IAS. यहां पे भी IAS, मतलब ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज का ऑफिसर है वो. Now he is right. These IAS officers might be working in the state, but their recruitment is in the hands of center. Their dismissal from the service is in the hands of center. They can become governor after retirement by the mercy of center. Center ही इनको बनाएगा. So it is in their interest to be more loyal towards center, even if they work in the state. Getting this or not? ये बहुत critical चीज है. Clear it right now. They will have a kind of tendency, natural tendency, to work in the favor of union government, because union government has got their strings in their hand. इनकी डोर इनके हाथ में है, बड़ी वाली. Now see, he is correct. He said union government, which is ruled by a party, will tell these officers, all India service officers, do not cooperate with the state government. You are running the state administration. Manage the administration in such a way that the state administration comes to a halt. काम ही मत करो. Right or wrong? For example, you are IAS officer. You are managing the education department of this state. ठीक है ना? I told you, madam, if you want to have faster promotions, then do not work properly in your state. Will you not do this? कर ही दोगे आप. देखो कितनी जल्दी हाँ किया. Yes. And the result will be your faster promotion, but ruins to the education of the state or not? State का तो education का भट्टा बैठ जाएगा. Because you are deliberately bringing ruins to the state administration on the instructions from center. Similarly, Can you give me one more example by which you can tell me how center can use these officers, not only IS, IPSB, law and order? I myself gave you this example or not? In the second, third class, I told you that it can happen. For example, if let's take IPS. ये है IPS. For example, he is the DGP, Director General of Police of one state, हरियाणा का मान लेते हैं इनको. Suppose he is the Director General of Police, Haryana. Haryana ruled by opposition party. Central government might tell this DGP informally, remember this is not a formal communication. Central government might tell this DGP, who is the senior most cop in the state, ensure that law and order in Haryana goes out of hand. ये instruction इनको आ गई चोरी छुपे. Then he will do what? What he will do? First he will orchestrate, stage ये खुद ही दंगा करवाएंगे पहले तो. After all, he has got some connections. He will tell them, you start a riot. After that, the whole police is under him. He will not send police when the riot breaks. Police भी नहीं भेजी. What will be the result? The riot will get escalated. झगड़ा शुरू भी हो गया और बढ़ भी रहा है. And he has become a mute spectator. At least for 2-3 days. उसके बाद तो he will be shunted out by the center himself. But then still, for 2-3 days, he will allow the law and order to go out of gear or not in Haryana, where he himself is posted as DGP. If this is done, what will be the action of center? बताओ, आप बताओ, center क्या करेगा अब? Center will use this lawlessness in Haryana to put president rule in the state. Haryana constitutional machinery has broken down and we put president rule. Who is gone? Haryana की government गई. When president rule has been imposed, Haryana government gone. And who was instrumental in removing the Haryana government? He, who himself was a IPS. So through all India services officers, center government can punish the state governments for wrong intentions. ये clear है आपको? Now this started to happen after 1967, because before 1967 there was no ego clash. सब अपने लोग हैं. And from here started the corruption in all India services. If I got instruction from center, do not cooperate with the state, I did so. Who suffered? State. And who benefited? Center as well as me. मुझे भी तो मिलेगा कुछ रिटर्न में for being cooperative with the central government. And from here started the corrosion of the steel frame. If I started becoming biased in the favor of union government against the state government for wrong reasons, am I not selling my neutrality? Neutral to हुई नहीं मैं, I am biased. And this became a culture after that. Every party which came to power started doing this, and this is rampant even now. Understanding, sir? Any problem? Clear, sir? Right now. By second half of 1960s, civil servants neutrality got a beating मतलब backseat or suffered, got a beating, and now was mainly misused, by whom? Excellent. It was mainly misused by center against the states ruled by opposition parties. Please write down. It was a brackets में लिखना. Please make a brackets and then write. It was a hit to, it was a hit, hit matlab nuksan, it was a hit to the spirit of, last row, hit to the spirit of बहुत बढ़िया सर, फेडरलिज्म, hit where it hurts the maximum. It was a hit to the spirit of federalism. Don't you agree with this? ये फेडरलिज्म का तो मर्डर है. I am harassing the states. It was a hit to the spirit of federalism. Brackets closed. Since civil servants. Sorry, this is enough. This is enough. Paragraph change. First stage, I told you how they were neutral. Second stage, I told you how neutrality started to become diluted. अब और आगे चलते हैं, इनके कारनामे और अच्छे हो गए. देखो, (1975) is famous for what? Emergency. इंदिरा जी ने emergency लगाई थी. Tell me, if I ask you, during national emergency, do you feel that the neutrality of civil servant was intact or it hurt? Hurt. पक्की बात. How? Excellent. बहुत बढ़िया. Yes. And not only this, settlement of personal scores. I am a politician, a big politician at center. ध्यान से सुनना. I am a big politician at center. Do not look at that. Look at me. I am a big politician at center. He is a big politician, but he is my rival. Till now, I could not touch him because he was very popular. Emergency अब ऑन हो गई है. सर emergency लग गई है. अब आपको भगवान बचाए. Because now, as she said correctly, enforcement of fundamental right is suspended. अब fundamental right की दुहाई नहीं दे सकते ये. First person to be caught by me. I will ask whom to punish him now? Police. I will call the police commissioner. I am the big politician at center. मैं बुलाऊंगा, इधर आओ सब. He will ask me, yes sir, what can I do for you? I'll tell him, you abduct him. Emergency is on, nobody will question. इसको उठा लो. He said, yes sir. Sir, shall I kill him also? I said, हाँ चलो abduct करके भी, why should we increase the burden of the state? Eliminate him. और कर दिया. My score with him got settled or not? After that, I had some problem with him also. He was the potential rival of me within my party. उन्हें बुलाया दोबारा. Come here again. Yes, madam, what I can do for you? Eliminate him also. इनको भी ठिकाने लगा दिया. Now this way, not only him or him, hundreds of people were made to disappear during emergency. It was said to be a very black year of Indian democracy. People got disappeared, people were killed, people were jailed, and there was no justification given. And who was doing all these things? Police. Police ही तो कर रही थी. Of course, by the instruction of the politicians. But कर तो police रही थी ना. And police was a wing of civil services. Police civil services ही तो है. Means, don't you feel that civil services machinery was misused? वो होने लगा after 1975. I again had some problem with her. This time I will not call police. Whom will be called by me now? I am a big politician and she is a big personality. Having problem with each other. अब किसको बुलाऊंगा मैं इस बार? To harass her. नहीं, गैंगस्टर्स की तो जरूरत ही नहीं है. I have my own gangsters. Income tax department, raid maro, send her notices. Amitabh Bachchan some time back was getting regular notices from income tax that you have not paid income tax of this much amount. Sometime it was said that even the amount was not mentioned कि कितने का income tax नहीं भरा है. And sometime the amount was so less that income tax would have spent more sending him letter than what they could have recovered. समझ रहे हो? It was done to harass him. And who is being misused here to harass him? Income tax department. And income tax is part of civil services or not? Means again I am making misuse of civil services. I am asking the civil services machinery to favor me against him or her. Is it not loss of neutrality? Had you been neutral civil servant, agar aap neutral hote, you would have told the politicians, sir, you are a boss, agreed, but what you are asking me to do is unconstitutional, is without reason, and I will not do this. But the problem is that, as cited by second ARC, वो बोलते हैं that civil servants themselves are happy that they are getting these kind of assignments because by virtue of doing this act, they can bring their faster promotion, they can get monetary reward, and they can get a good office after retirement also. तो वो खुद भी करने को तैयार है. And this became a culture after 1975. ठीक है सर, इसको भी लिखो. Later, civil services machinery. Later, civil services as a machinery was misused to have iron hand control. Iron means tough. Iron hand control, very tough control or authoritarian control over the country's working. Seen particularly during emergency. By late paragraph change. By late 1970s. See, I don't know how much this is true, but I am sure this must be true. When Akhilesh Yadav government came in UP, let me tell you again, do not write these names in your answers. I am dropping these names so that you can understand and relate with this example. वहां मत लिखना आप लोग. When Akhilesh Yadav, you can use the same thing without naming them. आप लिख दो एक politician. When Akhilesh Yadav became the CM of Uttar Pradesh, and he was actually not declared the CM also. His party was winning. And he was a prospective candidate to become the CM. ऐसी खबर आ रही थी कि अखिलेश यादव will become the CM. Now, when this news broke, it was said that most of the senior IAS officers and the UPPCS officers, they were seen standing in line outside his home with bouquets, of course. Why were they standing there? ऑफिस का काम छोड़ के वहां जाने की क्या जरूरत थी? बताओ. Yes, they were there to tell him, sir, you have our support. You will have our cooperation for right reason or wrong reasons. Just remember our faces and please promote us also before turn. गलत है कि नहीं बात? He is not declared CM candidate. You are not supposed to go there. Why you are putting the line there? Means you are ready to tell him, sir, we are ready to sell our neutrality. Neutrality. We are ready to sell neutrality. आपके लिए सिर्फ. We are ready to become biased. ये इसी का तो एग्जाम्पल है कि नहीं? And this became culture after 1970s. पहले ऐसा नहीं होता था. Getting this, sir? This is a proof that अब पहले क्या था? See, till 1970s, politicians were forcing the civil servant do this wrong thing for us. Now, by late 70s or early 80s, civil servants were asking the politicians, sir, what I can do for you? Did I not give the example of his? That he will call the home minister, sir, he's your rival, may I eliminate him? अब ये खुद ही जाके बोलते हैं उनको. Understanding, sir? But then this is also a loss of neutrality. यही हो रहा है, write down. Came a culture, by late 1970s came a culture when civil servants themselves started to seek political patronage. Political patronage means political favors to get suitable postings. Why the DSP wiped off the shoe of the CM? Why the Banda SP called upon the ruling party office? Seek political patronage to get suitable postings, fast promotions, and post-retirement benefits. Paragraph change. The second ARC in its report, अपनी report में, and the title of the report was this: Ethics in Governance. Second ARC in its report, Ethics in Governance. Do you feel that ethics are there in governance? Yes, sir. Do you believe that governance has got ethics? ऐसा मत लिखना no, ethics were there but now it is not there. No, they have diluted but they are still there. Okay, ethics in governance puts the onus means responsibility, puts the onus, onus, puts the onus for maintaining the neutrality of the civil servants, not only on the civil servants, but also on, very good, but also on the political masters. You know, Sardar Patel once said that I need the civil servants who can displease me also by saying no to me. I said something, you say yes to everything. How much foolish that it is. Sardar Patel said that I need some officers who can say no to me also, because I cannot be correct all the time. And if they can tell no to me, means they are giving me advice which is right, which is not only correct to make me happy, which is in the interest of nation. I want neutral civil servant. I want a civil servant who can say no to me, who just do not agree with everything which I say, even if how much crap it is. You have to say, though I'll give you this material, online you will get this material, do read that. And in this chapter, you feel that this is only one topic, no. He can create even 3 questions from this topic only. वो कुछ भी पूछ सकता है आपसे. He can ask a question on neutrality. Neutrality is coming again and again in the newspaper, this word. Particularly in Haryana case. हाँ, I'll tell you how. लिखो. Second ARC said, second ARC ने बोला, today the neutrality of civil servants, today the neutrality of civil servants is getting diluted maximally, as now the civil servants just anticipate, वो मंत्री जी के मन की बात जान जाते हैं, can anticipate what the minister wants and advise that thing only. मंत्री जी के मन में जो बात आ गई वही एडवाइस उनको दे देते हैं, and advise that thing only to make him happy, even if it is technically flawed. Technically flawed. गलत है. Any FLAWED, wrong लिख लो. Technically not sound, technically wrong, technically flawed. You can write anything. Can you give me one example again of an advice which must have been given by a civil servant to the minister, which was politically right to make the minister happy, but technically wrong? लोन वेवर तो मैंने बताया था ना, और कुछ और बताओ. Any other advice, any other example which you feel was technically wrong, and since minister will never think on his own, this advice must have been given by the civil servant. कोई भी एक example. Food Security Act was wrong. उसको तो controversial हो जाएगा. Sir, Food Security Act according to me is a very good thing, or not only according to me. UP administration distributed laptops to female students or not? UP administration gave laptops to female students. सबको दिया. अब ये एडवाइस किसने दी होगी? This must have been given by a civil servant to the CM. आप थे वहां पे जब ये डिसीजन हुआ था. एडवाइस दी उनको. सर, टू बिकम पॉपुलर यू कैन डू दिस. अब व्हाट इज रॉन्ग इन दिस स्कीम बताओ. अरे बर्डन ऑन एक्सचेकर तो है ही है सर, ये नहीं थी. बिजली को जानते हो ना आप, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. नाउ अनलेस देयर इज दिस, व्हाट विल यू डू विद द लैपटॉप? जब बिजली नहीं होगी तो लैपटॉप चार्ज कैसे करोगे? पहले किसको भेजना चाहिए था? First you should have actually started, or first you have installed some arrangement for electricity. उसके बाद दो. And if you were actually concerned about the education of women, you should have first improved the infrastructure of the schools. You should have ensured that the toilets in the school become functional. You should have ensured that the security around the school is strengthened, so that the girl child is not fearful of going to school. Imagine a situation when there is no toilet here in this class, and you have to sit only for 3 hours. What will a child do when he has to spend 6 hours in school? वो जाना ही बंद कर देगा school. So this is kind of a populist scheme which is actually coming maybe in the mind of the minister, but then the civil servant who is working under the minister, he should have stopped the minister or not. मंत्री जी पहले बिजली तो दो, उसके बाद लैपटॉप देना. But then nobody will have the guts, because they are not neutral. They become fearful of offending the minister. छोड़ो यार, neutrality गई भाड़ में. Let's say something which will please the minister. मंत्री जी खुश होने चाहिए. Providing नहीं नहीं, प्रोवाइडिंग क्या बोलो, धीरे बोलो थोड़ा. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी मुझे अभी भी समझ में. प्रोवाइडिंग इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, अंडरस्टूड ना? ठीक है, एग्जाम में ये मत लिखना, डू नॉट राइट दिस नेम्स. एनी प्रॉब्लम टिल नाउ इन न्यूट्रलिटी? अभी ठीक चल रहा है. नाउ सी दिस थिंग. Till now, I was telling you what is the neutrality of civil servant. Neutrality मतलब sir, look here. If you are a neutral servant, BJP will come to power, Congress will come to power, CPI will come to power, Aam Aadmi Party, SP, BSP, whatever. You work according to the rules. You do not work to please the minister. Third most important thing, you do not get influenced by the personal ideology of the party in power. ये है neutrality. Do not get influenced by the ideology of the party in power, because ideology of the party in power might go against the constitutional provisions. अब एक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट नया आ गया, ये था न्यूट्रलिटी. There was a school of thought. School of thought, you understand or not? School of thought means some people thinking this way. Some people say that civil servant should be neutral. उनको neutral रहना चाहिए. Because once civil servant remain neutral, what will you get in return? क्या मिलेगा आपको उसके बदले में? Yesterday I told you, continuation of the national policies in a big way. People's faith on the civil servant. Civil servant will able to adjust with the new government. Civil servant will able to work freely and fearlessly. क्योंकि किसी से एहसान लिया नहीं कभी, किसी के लिए unnecessary कुछ किया नहीं. Okay. Now see, now there is a new school of thought which is coming up. एक कुछ लोग ये बोल रहे हैं, let the neutrality go. Let the civil servant become driven by the ideology of the party in power. एक ये thinking आ गई अब नई मार्केट के अंदर. See. ये है you worked under BJP for 5 years. You first read their ideology, you accepted the ideology, and you worked according to the dictates of the government in power. जो उन्होंने बोला आपने किया. Of course within the limits. ऐसा नहीं कि they said that kill 1,000 people and you killed them. No. Mostly you agreed with their ideology and you did not question them. इसको बोलते हैं, what is the name given to this kind of civil services or bureaucracy? क्या नाम देते हैं बताओ सर? कमिटेड ब्यूरोक्रेसी और सिविल सर्विसेज. कमिटेड मतलब ये दैट whosoever party will come to power, you as a civil servant will accept their ideology, will agree to their policies, will not question their approach, will implement whatever they will say on ground without starting a conflict with them. अब इसके पीछे कुछ justification भी है. We are not just saying this without any reason. What could you feel, बताओ sir, what could you feel might be a logic behind bringing committed civil services in place? Did anybody not understand what is committed civil services? सब समझ गए? Tell me what could be the logic behind creating committed, हाँ जी आप बताओ, committed civil services के पीछे क्या logic हो सकता है? और what is the justification of developing committed civil services in place of neutral civil services? बहुत बढ़िया, she is right. When civil servants will agree with the political class on everything, clash khatam. And when the clash between minister and the civil servant is not there, best is for administration. Administration smooth चलेगा. भाई ड्राइवर और सवारी के बीच में अगर अच्छा तालमेल होगा, will it not be good for the whole car? Yes. पहली बात. Very good. This is also a new point, novel point. He will understand that this was something good in the times of BJP. मगर आप ये देखो, when he will work under Congress, he will forget whatever was good under BJP. He will now agree with only Congress. क्योंकि वो पावर में. Thinking तो constrict हो गई ना. Thinking under committed civil services will get constrict because you think only from the lines of the ruling party. बहुत बढ़िया. This is the second most important reason. ये देखो, who has put BJP to power? People. When you agree with whatever they say, when you agree with their ideology, are you not agreeing with people themselves? What better you can do for the democracy than this? इससे अच्छा तो डेमोक्रेसी के लिए है ही नहीं भाई. गवर्नमेंट टुडे, द गवर्नमेंट इन पावर इज इन पावर बिकॉज ऑफ पीपल्स मैंडेट. नाउ यू एज अ सिविल सर्वेंट, इफ यू एग्री विद द गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज एवरी टाइम, यू आर इन अ वे एग्रीइंग विद पीपल्स डिमांड. ये बीजेपी क्या है? ये लोग ही तो है. यू हैव पुट देम टू पावर And when the civil servants do not question their approach, they do whatever they say. They agree with their policies. They agree with their orientation. In a way, they are agreeing with the orientation of people. ये इन्होंने argument दिया वो सही भी है. Any counter argument also?
Sir, there can be like irrelevant ideologies also. Like somebody saying that cause murder is not good. So if for that
देखो लॉजिक क्या है. क्वेश्चन इज दिस, पीपल हैव वोटेड देम. अब इररेलेवेंट रेलेवेंट तो लोग ही डिसाइड करेंगे. सिंस पीपल हैव वोटेड देम, यू एग्री विद बीजेपी, यू एग्री विद पीपल इन अ वे. व्हाट इज द काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट टू दिस? यस, सबने थोड़ी ना वोट दिया इनको भाई. यू नो दिस थिंग और नॉट? फर्स्ट पास द पोस्ट. आई विल एक्सप्लेन दैट व्हेन आई टेक इलेक्शंस. फर्स्ट पास द पोस्ट का मतलब ये है दैट एनीवेज let's forget this. BJP is in power. How many people must have voted for BJP? Example. Around 32% people voted for BJP plus the allies. वो मिला के गवर्नमेंट बनाया ना इन्होंने. Means only 32% people agree with the party in power. और BJP क्या कांग्रेस के साथ भी यही होगा? It could be a possibility that Congress is in power with only 25% seats. It means that yes, the party power is popular one, but majority of the people did not vote for them. 32% people voted for BJP. How many did not vote for BJP? 68%. 68% people did not vote for BJP. Now when the civil servant is agreeing with the every ideology of BJP, is he not doing injustice to the remaining 68% people? Because their ideology may not be actually liked by them. ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है ना. ये counter argument है to committed civil services. See, my approach is here right now. First, I explained what is neutrality of civil servant. Then I gave benefits of neutrality of civil servant. Then I said a new approach has come in this philosophy that instead of having neutral civil servant, we can have committed civil servant. भाई committed आप ये देखो ना. For example, see. आई एम अ किंग. अपने आप को बनाता हूं किंग में, हम जब बनाना होता है तो ओके. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम द किंग एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज आर कैंडिडेट्स इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी हु कैन बिकम माई शेफ. मेरा खाना बनाने के लिए इनमें से कोई एक चुना जाएगा. हु शुड आई चूज सर? आप बताओ. हु मेक्स द बेस्ट फूड? कम पैसा नहीं यार, मैं राजा हूं. पैसे की कोई लिमिट नहीं है. You know why I said I'm king? Because the life of a king is always at risk. Somebody might poison me. Taste को छोड़ो, पैसे को छोड़ो. I'll take a cook who will never poison me. What will I do of a cook who cooks the best, who takes no money, but he can poison me? है कि नहीं है? I should have somebody to support me who is of my trust or not, who is committed to me or not. यही लॉजिक यहां पे भी है. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज दिस, इसे कुक्स थ्योरी बोलते हैं. कुक्स थ्योरी मीन्स सम पीपल से व्हाट इज द रॉन्ग विद दिस if politicians are supported by the civil servants who are committed only to their ideology. They do not question the minister. उसमें नुकसान क्या है? Because what will you do with the cook who will poison you? This, you know why ये debate हुआ क्यों? This debate erupted because some time back when this government came to power, principal secretary, you know or not? मैं बताऊंगा आपको प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी क्या होता है. प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी इज लाइक एन एडवाइजर टू द प्राइम मिनिस्टर. ही इज द एडी टू द प्राइम मिनिस्टर. इज अ सीनियर ब्यूरोक्रेट. सीनियर आईएएस ऑफिसर होता है प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी. ही इज द टॉप ब्यूरोक्रेट इन प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफिस. पीएमओ में सीनियर मोस्ट ऑफिसर होता है वो. नाउ पीएमओ वाज टू बी हैव अ न्यू प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी. सरकार नई आई है तो पीएमओ में हेड भी नया आएगा. गवर्नमेंट wanted to take a particular individual. That particular individual was anyone? बहुत बढ़िया. He was this निरपेंद्र मिश्रा. अभी भी यही है प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी. Now government wanted him to become the principal secretary, but he was previously the head of TRAI. TRAI means Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Now, as per the rules of TRAI, somebody who had been at any point of time head of TRAI cannot hold this office of Prime Minister, of Principal Secretary. So you know what government did? Government brought an amendment to the Tri Act. कानून ही बदल दिया. That from now on you can have somebody who was previously a Tri head to become the Principal Secretary. और कानून बदल गया, तो he became eligible to become the Principal Secretary. The question erupt came, why are you hell bent to have only one person become Principal Secretary? Do you have deficiency of officers who can actually occupy the seat? It means that you have excess faith only in him. You want him to become committed to you. तभी तो आप उसी को लेने के चक्कर में हो. Otherwise you could have taken anyone. After all, these people are equally qualified chef. I can pick anyone. But I want to pick only him because I have more faith in him than them. He is more committed to me than them. There, this debate of committed civil services came. Government gave justification using Cook's theory. उन्होंने बोला, what is the problem with you if we have more trust in him, if we have more faith in his abilities, उसमें नुकसान क्या है? Somebody replied, sir, damage is there, नुकसान है, problem can be there. Problem is this, when you show excess faith only in him, will not others feel discouraged? Yeah, we should have come closer to the government. After all, he got this good seat and we did not, in spite of we also having the same caliber. हमें तो लिया नहीं गवर्नमेंट ने. मोटिवेशन गिरेगा कि नहीं गिरेगा? And it might also send a wrong signal to people that the government in power is having much faith in only few bureaucrats. It means they can actually tomorrow get into nexus and can do wrong things. ये argument, counter argument की कहानी है. I am not saying what is right, what is wrong. I am saying this is the argument, this is counter argument, which again will have a counter argument. ये चीज है. Now let me summarize. When I started, I told you, now let's summarize this. When I started, I told you what is the neutrality of civil services. Who is a neutral civil servant? What are the benefits of having neutral civil servant? Then I told you, as against neutral civil servants, we can have somebody who is called as committed civil servant. Committed civil servant is one who is committed to the personal ideology of the ruling party, who has full faith in the ruling party and their approach towards governance, and he generally never disagrees with the ruling party. जो ruling party बोले वो उसके साथ साथ चल देता है. This is good because this way the conflict between the minister and the civil servant will come down, which is good for the country. It is good because if you have somebody who is committed to your ideology, you will have more faith in him and you will also feel secured. कि भाई जो भी मैं करूंगा, that will not be thwarted because these people are working for me. Efficiency बढ़ेगी कि नहीं बढ़ेगी काम की? Committed civil services. And moreover, since this party is in power because of people mandate, लोगों ने इसको vote किया है, and these civil servants are agreeing with the party in power, it means these civil servants are agreeing with the people at large. But this argument has a counter argument also, as she told correctly, that these civil servants, when they agree with the government for everything, they are actually doing injustice to the people who did not vote for the party in power. तो committed civil servants होने के फायदे भी हैं. Having neutral civil servant also has its own advantages. तो करें क्या? Should we go for neutral civil services or should we go for committed civil services? Neutral. देखो how we came to the conclusion. ये conclusion पे हम कैसे उतरे? Neutral civil servant own benefit, committed civil servants own benefit, but the damage or the potential damage of having committed civil services is much more than the benefits offered by committed civil services. फायदे दोनों के हैं, मगर यहां नुकसान ज्यादा बड़ा है. आप ये देखो, the day committed civil services come up in this country, will not people lose faith in the system? छोड़ो यार, ये सिविल सर्वेंट तो गवर्नमेंट के लिए काम करेंगे, एंड आई एम नॉट इन द गुड बुक्स ऑफ द, माई कम्युनिटी इज नॉट इन द गुड बुक्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, सो आई माइट बी डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड. ये डर बैठ जाएगा कि नहीं बैठ जाएगा? Thankfully, this is not right now because we don't have committed civil services right now. Civil services today also is quite neutral. At least it is not that committed. और जब the day the civil servant become committed, they will start losing their mind. वो दिमाग चलाना बंद कर देंगे. They will lose they will lose rationality. They will be driven by political considerations. They will not be able to then see that non-aligned movement is a very good policy. They will not be able to see that no first use policy, even if started by previous government, is a good policy and we should continue with that. They will not be in a position to appreciate the value of Narega. And we will lose very good policies when government comes and government changes. Getting me or not? Committed civil services के फायदे तो है, मगर नुकसान उससे भी ज्यादा बड़े हैं. So let's continue with this. Write down. Now a demand is being made. Now a demand is being made. Please write with understanding. Do not just write mechanically. Now a demand is being made. Did I dictate this before? No, na? Demand is being made that in place of neutral civil services, there should be a committed civil services, committed civil services oblique bureaucracy. One and the same thing. Double underline the word committed. That is a kind of civil services or bureaucracy which is committed completely to the ideology or the orientation of the ruling party. Because this way, the conflict between the minister and the civil servant will come down. Conflict between the minister and the civil servant will come down. Second, improve implementation, means this will improve implementation. Third, since the government in power is in power, because of people's mandate, mandate matlab vote, because of people's mandate, since the government in power is in power because of people's mandate, committed civil services is actually a respect towards this, is a respect towards this mandate only. But the counter argument is, keep reading what you're writing, but the counter argument is, India has chodo. The counter argument is that, because you have not read that thing, no, so no, because not 100% people, write down, because not 100% people must have voted for the government in power. So committed civil servants or having committed bureaucracy might actually be an injustice, to the people who did not vote for the party in power. And it may erode, the people's faith. Erode means destroy. It may erode the people's faith in the overall system. In the overall system. So even with paragraph change, conclusion है ये. So even with some justification, it is better to continue with a neutral civil services than committed civil services. Tell me one thing, second ARC ने तो ये बात बोल दी that now, हाँ जी सर, चार्ज किसको मिलता है? जो वो, हाँ बिल्कुल. In fact, this is what second ARC said, that their neutrality is getting diluted. अभी ये तो लिखा आपने, second ARC ने खुद ये बात बोल दी है. मगर बात ये है सर, that is something which is a kind of informal arrangement which you are entering into. Is it a system which is developed by government itself? सरकार ने तो ऐसा कोई सिस्टम नहीं बनाया ना. But these people are saying we should have a formal system by which committed civil services should be there. Even if you are not eligible to hold the office, I may be able to bring you in that office. Because मेरा आपके ऊपर ट्रस्ट ज्यादा है. यार वो इलीगल काम तो नहीं कर सकते, मगर वो ऐसा काम कर सकते हैं which might hurt the. अब आप ये सुनो, I give you this example. One government is there, for example, which might have more inclination towards one community, not towards other community. You are civil servant under that government, and some person from some other community came to you, which is not in the high books or preference of the government in power. Will you do justice to him then? You are being driven by the orientation of the government in power. आप तो उन्हीं के हिसाब से सोच रहे हो. Will you actually treat him well? No. That will be unconstitutional, sir. Magar cannot we do many things which are appearing to be unconstitutional, but that can be made a law? Slaughtering of cows ka hi le lo, for example. Many states have banned this slaughter of cow or not. A question was raised, this is wrong. Now tomorrow when you have committed civil services, will anybody question that? आप beef transport कर रहे थे, police was there, standing there, you were beaten black and blue, इतना मारा आपको कि आपका अपना beef बन गया. Police was standing there. Police did not take any action, reason being police खुद committed हो चुकी है, for example. Now will you justify the action of police? खप पंचायत. If for example tomorrow there comes a government which supports खप पंचायत, ऐसा हुआ था. There was a political party in one of the state which said yes, खप पंचायत is doing whatever they are doing is right. You are police. खप पंचायत gives the wrong order to a particular couple कि भाई इनकी पिटाई की जाए सरेआम, or they should be tied to a tree and they should be hanged. You are a policeman, you are standing there. Now since you are committed to the government in power, which itself has a soft corner towards खप पंचायत, will you intervene? आप intervene करोगे ही नहीं. If you become committed, you might actually yourself start doing something which is unconstitutional or which is not legal also. जो बात आप बोल रहे हो वो सही बोल रहे हो, but then this is an outfall of being committed. Getting me or not? When you become committed yourself, you yourself sometime become unconstitutional in your activities. ऑफिशियली नहीं कर रहे हैं, मगर एक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट है, कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो बोल रहे हैं व्हाट इज द हार्म इन हैविंग कमिटेड सिविल सर्विसेज. सम स्कॉलर्स इन दिस एरिया दे आर जस्टिफाइंग दिस कि यार इसमें गलत क्या है, कमिटेड होना ही चाहिए. और वो प्रिजम्पशन क्या लेके चल रहे हैं? देयर प्रिजम्पशन इज दैट गवर्नमेंट विल इटसेल्फ नेवर डू एनीथिंग विच इज अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल, और गवर्नमेंट ओरिएंटेशन विल नेवर बी अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल. अब गवर्नमेंट का ओरिएंटेशन तो नहीं होगा, बट व्हेन यू हैव दिस zeal, I have to get committed towards the government in power, will that zeal not make you sometime work in an unconstitutional or illegal manner? भावनाओं में बह के तो आप कुछ ऐसा कर सकते हो ना. ये बात हमने उनको समझाई है, द पीपल हु आर फेवरिंग कमिटेड सिविल सर्विसेज. समझ रहे हो नहीं समझ रहे हो? हाँ यार, ही मस्ट ऑल्सो बी हैविंग सम वैलिड पॉइंट. आपस की बात बाद में भी कर सकते हो. नो, वी कैनॉट इन्फ्लुएंस द गवर्नमेंट. यू लिसन टू हिज क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट. अपनी एक सभा बना रखी है. अरे ही ऑल्सो हैज अ वैलिड पॉइंट. वॉट एवर एक्सप्लेनेशन आई गेव टू हिम, विल इट नॉट बी यूजफुल टू यू? अपनी 5 लोगों की पंचायत चल रही है पीछे. हैव सम रेस्पेक्ट टू द अदर पर्सन ऑल्सो. ऐसी जील आती है सर जब somebody become committed, no, this kind of zeal which make you forget what is right, what is wrong, and you start doing wrong even if government has not asked you to do wrong. गवर्नमेंट की ओरिएंटेशन तो सिर्फ ये थी कि बीफ बैन इज टू बी ब्रॉट, ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम विद दैट, बट सिंस यू आर सो मच कमिटेड यू स्टार्ट इग्नोरिंग योर ड्यूटीज कंप्लीटली. ठीक है, उसकी पिटाई हो रही है, होने दो. Did government ask you to that to allow you this kind of flogging? No. But since you have become so much committed towards the government in power and their orientation, you are involved in dereliction of the duty. अब यही आंसर हम दे रहे हैं द स्कूल ऑफ थॉट विच आर्ग्यू फॉर हैविंग कमिटेड सिविल सर्विसेज. गवर्नमेंट नहीं बोल रही कि कमिटेड लाओ नहीं लाओ. द स्कूल ऑफ थॉट इज सेइंग सो दैट व्हाट इज द हार्म इफ वी हैव कमिटेड सिविल सर्विसेज. नाउ दिस इज द आंसर वी गेव टू देम. हार्म तो नहीं है, बट हार्म हो सकता है. हाँ बोलो. Civil servants are completely under their control. Yesterday also I told you that if this is civil services machinery, they will work under the complete control of the minister. तो पूरी jurisdiction है. You are under my control. If I see you doing something wrong, I will dismiss you from service or at least suspend. State jurisdiction over the civil servant is relatively lower. Were you there yesterday? तो फिर जब आप कल आए नहीं तो अब ये बात रिपीट मत करवाओ मुझसे. Yesterday I explained this thing. State can at best suspend them. Center can dismiss from service. What post they will hold after retirement will be decided by center, not by the state. However, state will also have some influence. When you are under state, state can transfer you in a particular place which is not liked by you. So, yesterday I gave this example only that this is a person, all India services is a person who is hounded by both the parties, center also and state. But the maximum damage can be inflicted by center. Since you did not come yesterday, you cannot understand this argument now. हाँ जी सर, ट्रांसफर भी कर सकता है, स्टेट के सस्पेंड भी कर सकता है आपको. बट दैट सस्पेंशन कैन बी रिवोक्ड बाय सेंटर. If state under which you are working suspended you, you can file an appeal in the center. Center can revoke you or cancel the suspension. Durga Shakti Nagpal, she appealed to the center. Please revoke my suspension. That is immaterial here right now. Understood this fact or not, sir? Control तो दोनों का है, but maximum damage can be inflicted by center. और मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट कैन ऑल्सो बी गिवन बाय सेंटर, क्योंकि रिटायरमेंट के बाद कौन आपको गवर्नर बनाएगा? सेंटर. ठीक है सर. who pays, how much will be the salary, what will be the increment. I told you this is not to be ventured into. Highly dangerous area and never will be asked or having any significance. Concept ended, a new concept beginning. हाँ बताओ सर, what were you saying? State? हाँ, स्टेट और सेंटर तो दोनों पावर में है ही ना. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इज इन. हाँ. Yes, if you influence them in a good way, that is okay. But chances are that you might influence them in a bad way also. Or you do not want to influence them. They draw a conclusion कि गवर्नमेंट की ये तमन्ना पूरी करने के लिए मुझे ये भी करना चाहिए. They themselves sometimes cross the line. Government is not asking you to flog somebody who is transporting beef in public, but you do out of your commitment towards the government in power. है कि नहीं है? Now see, I'm starting a new concept, but then if I start the concept directly, you will not understand this. थोड़ी ऐसी चीजें हैं. I take an example, of course in a lighter sense. बताओ सर, आपका शुभ नाम बताओ. जॉर्ज. बहुत बढ़िया नाम. I don't know this is true or not, but then anyways. Only in a lighter sense so that you can understand the concept. Nothing to be taken personally. See, Mr. Joy, very joyous, jolly person, very hardworking and studious also. Right from the beginning, he had two ambitions. जिंदगी में दो ही अरमान थे शुरू से. One, I clear civil services. Second, once I clear civil services, by the age of 26 or 27, हाँ शादी, I shall have the most luxurious wedding ever seen in the history of Delhi NCR. आज तक इतनी शादी ना हुई हो, and the expenses will be borne by him. खर्चा खुद उठाएंगे. Very good intention, and for that he started saving right from childhood. Whosoever gave him some money, भाई जब घर जाते तो पैसे मिलते हैं ना. Whosoever gave him any money, he saved that. खर्चा नहीं किया, उसको बचा के रखा. Whenever at home he saw 100 rupees note, 200 rupees note, instead of returning it, it went to the piggy bank. जमा कर लिया. And by the time he was 26 and he actually cleared civil services, वो हो गया, he could actually have a very big amount with him. इतने 16 करोड़ रुपए सर आपने जमा कर लिए हैं. Congratulations. Even government is not able to do that. इतने इन्होंने जमा कर लिए. I don't know how, but then this was his budget for to fulfill his next dream. इतने की शादी होगी सर. 16 करोड़ की wedding. Is it not a grand affair? Now see, when your aim is to have such a big wedding, can you arrange the wedding on your own? Joyce, आप कर पाओगे अपने आप? नहीं कर पाओगे. Who will be now sought after by you? Wedding planner. शादी मुबारक के पास जाओगे and you will tell them, sir, I need a wedding and this is my budget, a modest budget. Please help me have the best wedding ever seen in Delhi NCR. ये इनका aim है. They said, okay, no problem. We have experts in different areas. They will manage the different areas of your interest in your marriage. Now, when you have such a big budget, where all will you spend this money, sir? खर्चा कहाँ कहाँ करोगे? बताओ. डेकोरेशन पे खर्चा होगा ही होगा. फूड बहुत बढ़िया. वेन्यू तो वही डेकोरेशन में आ गया ना. हाँ बिल्कुल. गिफ्ट्स, सेलिब्रिटी डांस. कौन से सेलिब्रिटी? सलमान खान. कल्चरल प्रोग्राम लिख देते हैं. इट लुक्स डिसेंट. ओके. सेलिब्रिटी डांस कैन बी. और कुछ? एनी अदर थिंग वेयर ही विल स्पेंड? A drink. टी कॉफी एंड सूप उस पर भी खर्चा होगा. And number of other areas he will spend. Return gift भी तो देने हैं. Okay, and all these things, jewelry and also. But then his ambition is this also, that in my wedding, which has such a big budget, he was very fond of sweet dish. Jalebi इनकी favorite थी. And he asked specifically the person who was heading this thing, food management, और wedding planner को बोला इन्होंने, I need the best sweet dish and that too only jalebi and that too with a specific shape. जलेबी की shape यही होनी चाहिए, कोई खिलवाड़ ना हो इसके साथ में. I don't know about other places, but here in Delhi, this is the shape of jalebi. Generally ऐसी ही होती है ना, ऐसी बनाते हैं वो. He was very particular about the shape. पूरा draw करके दिया, ऐसी ही shape की जलेबी होनी चाहिए मेरी शादी में. It should not be disfigured. बहुत बढ़िया. The wedding started. He entered the venue. Then he was started to see the venue, and he actually pinched himself to make it clear that he was not in heaven. He was still alive in earth. जिंदा भी है, अपनी शादी चल रही है. And he was very much happy. You all were invited. You also enjoyed it very much. After the arrangement started, you had your food. खाना खाने के बाद you also had the jalebi. Sweet dish भी खाई. But here is the catch. Problem ये हो गई that instead of this shape of jalebi, the person who made the jalebi, he made it in a very different shape. इस shape की jalebi बना डाली उसने. My drawing is weak, so I'm taking help of. हाथी back view. जॉय साहब बताओ, what will be your reaction now? सारा जॉय खत्म. अरे बोलो yes or no? Ended. The whole project seems to be a failure or not? 16 करोड़ पानी में चले गए because his dream was to have such kind of arrangement. और हुआ ये, और लोग भी हंस रहे. People are also making fun of him. ये कुछ जलेबी है, as if they have come to zoo. बेइज्जती अलग. अब he is very upset on that day, but then since this is the wedding day, he will not say anything now. After 1 or 2 days, he will start looking for the culprit. अब जॉय एक बात बताओ, using the best common sense available, tell me, who will be the person questioned by you? Food manager or the person who made the jalebi himself? My question is, who will be questioned by Joy for this fiasco? Wedding planner. Some people said food manager also, or who made the jalebi himself. जो crime जिसने किया है उसको पकड़ो. भाई wedding planner did not make the jalebi, so why he should be caught? हाँ, अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ वेडिंग प्लानर. ये अकाउंटेबिलिटी तो ठीक है, बट देन सी दिस थिंग, यू कुड हैव सिंपली सेड दिस थिंग दैट सिंस जॉय न्यू ओनली वन पर्सन, जॉय को तो एक ही आदमी पता था, दैट वन पर्सन वाज वेडिंग प्लानर. पहली बात, ही डिड नॉट नो हु मेड द जलेबी, ही कैन नॉट कैच हिम. सेकेंडली, बजट कितना था? 16 करोड़ का. व्हेन यू हैव सच अ बिग बजट मैरिजेस, यू हैव थाउजेंड्स ऑफ शेफ who are preparing the food for you. एक आदमी नहीं बनाता खाना. There are number of people who prepare. Now when he start looking for somebody who was a culprit or who was part of the food making, can he actually catch somebody who made this? No. हजारों लोगों में से वो पकड़ पाएगा किसने बनाई थी? मतलब ही नहीं है. He'll ask him, did you make the jalebi? He'll say, no, sir, I was making the naan. Ask her, did you make the jalebi? No, I was just standing on the ice cream parlor. कोई मानेगा नहीं कि मैंने बनाई थी. In fact, he will go mad asking 1,000 people 1,000 questions. So is it not better that he should question only one person? और उसी आदमी को तो ठेका भी दिया था इसका. The one person was given the whole responsibility that I hand over this 16 crore rupees to you. Now it is up to you. It is your headache how you manage it further. The responsibility was not given to the person who was making the sweet dish, so he should not be questioned, first thing. Second thing, even if he tries to question them or find out who actually made this piece, he will not be able to find out because there are so many people involved in this particular work. Now, if you have understood this thing, tell me what I was referring to. देखो, the person who made the sweet dish, he will remain this. The person who actually made the sweet dish was anonymous to Joy and will remain anonymous to Joy. Joy को कभी पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि actually ये किया किसने था. Joy will have only single point contact, which will be the wedding planner. Now, if you have understood this concept, I was discussing something which is called as this. ये था ये कॉन्सेप्ट, सिविल सर्वेंट्स एनोनिमिटी. अब आपको अगर समझ में आ गया जॉय साहब, तो बताओ, हु इज जॉय? और जॉय इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग हु? Public. Very good. Joy was actually a representative of people of this country. And who was the wedding planner? 16 crore wedding. Is it not a big affair like running the whole state itself? भाई सरकार चलाना कोई 16 करोड़ की शादी से कम थोड़ी ना. It's a very big, complex state of affair or not? बहुत मुश्किल और बड़ा भी काम है ये. So wedding planner was actually representative of the people's representatives or the political masters. People of India gave the contract to run the state to whom? People's representative. उन्होंने तो नेताओं को बोल दिया, you take the vote, you run the affairs of the state. बाकी हमें कुछ नहीं पता, अपने आप मैनेज करो. Is it not the case? You told the politicians, you run the state, you appoint people, you appoint the civil servants. We are not concerned who will work, who will do what. Now, these politicians, in turn, don't they take help of the experts? ये कौन है? These are the civil servants involved in Ministry of Urban Development. These are the civil servants involved in Ministry of Food and Agriculture. These are the civil servants who are involved in the Ministry of HRD. These are the people who are involved in the Ministry of Culture. ये civil servant ही तो हैं. They are expert in their own areas. And why do you think people's representative have appointed these civil servants? इनको रखने की क्या जरूरत थी? Because, yes, these people cannot micromanage everything. They need experts in different areas. Health को manage करने के लिए you need doctors. To manage revenue, you need somebody who is trained in revenue. To manage the railways, you need somebody who is trained in railways. आपने अलग-अलग civil servants को appoint किया. Moreover, one more thing, people's representative are not expert in administration. उनको administration चलाना नहीं आता. They have to take help of civil servants. अब ये बात हो गई. एक बात बताओ मुझे, if you have understood this thing, my question is, answer वहीं से निकलेगा, the jalebi thing. Take this example. There are number of departments. ऐसे लो. I am an engine driver. Do not write, listen. I am an engine driver. I was driving the train. मैं train चला रहा था. And I got the train crashed into some other train. 2500 people lost life. 2500 लोग मर गए. 2 ट्रेन्स थी आपस में भिड़ गई because of my fault. When I am driving the train, am I not a civil servant? भाई ट्रेन का ड्राइवर भी तो सिविल सर्वेंट ही होता है. उसने चलाई गाड़ी और उसने मार दी. In that case, when so many people have lost life, people of this country, will you now question the train driver or will you question the rail minister? Rail minister. Like joy, you will not run after the jalebi maker. आपको तो एक ही आदमी पता है. And who is that? Minister. He is like a wedding planner. Fiasco तो हो गया ना. So many people lost life. It's a tragedy. In that case, people will not question the train driver because train driver was driving the train. People will question the rail minister. वो उनसे बोलेंगे the train driver was working under your control. हमें नहीं पता. We want answer from you. Moreover, people will say to the minister, we gave the contract to run the rail ministry to the minister. हमने तो आपको जिम्मेवारी दी थी. Now, if something has gone wrong, you should be held responsible for that. Not the person who committed the crime or the wrong himself. हम उसको पनिशमेंट नहीं देंगे, हम आपको पनिशमेंट देंगे by removing you from post. And the civil servant or the driver who was driving the train, पांडे जी थे ना ये ड्राइवर, ये खुद चला रहे थे. Was he not a civil servant? वो civil servant थे. The driver who was driving the train himself, he will remain anonymous to people. लोगों को इससे कोई मतलब नहीं है. People will not even come to know. आपको तो ये पता भी नहीं चलेगा who was the driver. People will not be concerned who was driving the train or what was the name of the driver. People will only question rail minister. People, ये joy है joy. Rail minister was wedding planner and this driver was the person who made the mithai wala. People will question the rail minister or people will remove the rail minister. In turn, rail minister can punish the driver. वो तो करेगा ही करेगा. मगर कुर्सी किसकी जाएगी? Rail minister. Who will take the whole blame on himself? The rail minister. Because it is the rail minister who had taken the charge to run the affairs of such a big ministry from people. तो जवाबदेही भी उसकी होगी. This concept where, listen carefully, this concept where the civil servant remain anonymous for the good or bad they do in the department and the blame or credit for bad or good which happens in the department is taken by the minister himself is called as civil servants anonymity. It is also known with one more name called as ministerial responsibility. Mantri ji zimmewar hai department. Do not write, I'll dictate. The Mantri ji is responsible for everything good or bad which is happening. And he will be facing the public. देखो, the minister will face the public. Minister will not push the civil servant, जाओ तुम public से deal कर लो. No. He has to face the public and the civil servant which has actually committed the crime or the good thing will remain hidden in front of public, behind the minister. This concept is called as civil servants anonymity, also called as ministerial responsibility. Write down. And when you write, please read. ये concept थोड़े imagine करने वाले भी हैं. Civil servants anonymity ऊपर लिखा हुआ है. Parliamentary system of government. Parliamentary system of government. What is the contrast to parliamentary system? Presidential system. Parliamentary system of government works on the principle of ministerial responsibility. Ministerial responsibility. Keep reading what you are writing. Very important, very critical. It means two things. इसके दो मतलब हैं. It means two things. First, each minister अब पढ़ना आप लोग क्या लिख रहे हो. Each minister is responsible to whom? People मतलब parliament. Parliament is people only. Is responsible to the parliament for the work of the department, for the work of the department, for the work of the department placed under his charge. मंत्री जी की जिम्मेवारी है अपने डिपार्टमेंट की. Placed under his charge. You know, this actually happened. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, he resigned when the rail accident took place. Yes, many have resigned out of compulsion or out of moral responsibility. But when Lal Bahadur Shastri ji resigned, he resigned out of moral responsibility. He could have passed the blame on the driver, but he said no. As per civil servants anonymity, I am responsible for the disaster which has taken place in rail ministry. I cannot pass the blame to the person who was driving the train. And he resigned. ये प्रिंसिपल उनको भी पता था. So he resigned. Okay, next. His responsibility, second इसी का part है, his responsibility, his means ministers, his responsibility extends to the work of, keep reading, his responsibility extends to the work of the civil servants working in his department, working in his department, who themselves remain what? Anonymous. वो खुद छुपे रहते हैं, काम करते रहते हैं. Who themselves remain anonymous. That is the credit for success. That is the credit for success. And the responsibility for failure. Credit for success and the responsibility for failure both belong to dash. Both belong to minister. अब अगली लाइन पे ध्यान दें. Change the paragraph. Minister cannot pass on. Minister cannot pass on the blame. Minister cannot pass on the blame to whom? To the civil servants. Minister cannot pass on the blame to the civil servant. The wedding planner could not have said, see, I did not make the jalebi, you ask the person who make the jalebi. ऐसा वो बोल सकता है? No. Cannot pass on the blame to the civil servant, nor he can expose them. Nor he can expose them. Nor he can expose them. NOR. KNOR मत लिखना. Nor he can expose them in parliament or public. Nor he can expose them in parliament or public. Civil servants work with full anonymity behind the protective shield of the minister.
Directly question the minister. But in rural areas, we have seen that people go to DM's office, they discuss things with them.
Yeah, discussing. No, discussing is their work. Discussing something with people is the part of their work. So no, but tomorrow if something goes wrong, no, then DM blame तो जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं है that he will go unpunished. But then publicly who will take the responsibility? Minister. if vaccination drive goes wrong, अगर vaccination drive, आप ये देखो, I'll give you this example and you'll understand. See, sometime back in Chhattisgarh, this happened that there was a mass sterilization program. Abhi two years back this happened. Mass sterilization program took place in Chhattisgarh, in which the program went wrong. The doctor who was carrying out the sterilization of the women, he was so overburdened that it was read that within 1 hour he completed how many operations? I mean, if you have the complete calculation, he almost completed 5 operations in 1 hour. Can you even think of one person having 5 operations in 1 hour, and that on continuation? On daily basis, he was having around 30 or 35 operations. Impossible for somebody. More than 100. एक दिन में. Can a doctor perform 100 operations of sterilization in 1 day? Not possible at all. But वहां हुए, and the result was many young women died. बहुत सारी. Many children got orphaned. Now, who should be held responsible for this? Minister, health minister. अब देखो वहां टसल हुआ. When women lost life, people started question the health minister. इतनी सारी लेडीज मरी हैं, आप जिम्मेवार हो. Health ministry is under you. The health ministry's drive went wrong. It backfired. Health minister should have resigned or not? If in one area there are 30-35 young women who are losing the life because of your negligence or the people's negligence working under you, कौन resign करेगा? Health minister should have resigned according to the principle of anonymity. But you know what happened? He said what? He said, see, I was not conducting the operation. The operations were being conducted by the doctor. I will punish him. Don't worry. And he exposed the doctor also. ये देखो इसने किया operation. And he got suspended. This was a complete violation of principle of civil servants anonymity. I am not saying that the minister should not have punished the doctor. उसको तो punish करना ही था. But then the doctor said, I was being forced by the minister just to complete the targets of the Chhattisgarh health department. Targets होते हैं ना, that every year you have to have so many sterilizations. वो हो नहीं रहे थे. That was the last day. So he was forced to do those many operations and it backfired. अब हुआ क्या? Health minister was trying to put the blame on the doctor, senior level doctor. उसने क्या? वो civil servant है, उसको पकड़ो. He was violating the principle of anonymity. Because as per the principle of anonymity, if something goes wrong under the department, you should take the blame. You should not expose the civil servant in front of the people. You should punish him internally. But in front of people, you should go and face people and take the moral blame of the backfiring of the program. But यहाँ ऐसा नहीं हुआ. एक और example. In which more case you saw the violation of principle of anonymity? Are you aware of the coal scam? Coal scam में what happened? In coal scam, the coal mines were allocated to the miners at a throwaway prices. बहुत सस्ते में उनको दे दी. And it was a loss to the government. पैसा कमाया. When this got exposed, question पूछे गए. The person who was a coal minister then, when these mines were allocated, had now become the prime minister of the country. Question were raised. Who was a coal minister that time? पता चला कि PM साहब coal minister थे. He was questioned by the judiciary. Sir, under your time, coal blocks were given to the players at throwaway prices. बहुत सस्ते में दिया आपने. First come first serve पे दे दिया. Bidding होनी चाहिए थी. Coal minister said, see sir, judiciary को बोला उन्होंने, sir, I am just a minister. I have so much work to do. Coal ministry is not a small ministry. It's such a big ministry. The person who came to me with the final proposal was my secretary, coal secretary. You catch him. Who was the coal secretary? PC Parekh. Coal minister was Manmohan Singh that time. So the coal minister who had now become the PM, he transferred the blame on coal secretary. If this corruption has taken place, do not blame me. I cannot take care of each and every nitty-gritties. वो सही भी बोल रहे हैं, yes. But then as per the principle of anonymity, he should have taken the blame on himself. Why he is exposing the civil servant in front of people and parliament, or he is transferring the blame? This is the ये तो वही वाली बात होगी that wedding planner says, do not ask me, I did not make the jalebi. You catch hold of the chef. This is wrong or not? After all, the chef was under you, and you took the responsibility from Joy that I will get the work done to the perfection. यहाँ पे यही तो हुआ. If you were heading the coal ministry, you were heading that with the presumption that you will take the blame of everything which goes wrong there. But here you are transferring the blame on the civil servant. This was a violation of the principle of civil servants anonymity or ministers responsibility. ये उसका blatant violation था. आप punish करो उसको, internally punish करो, but you should face the people yourself. This was this rail minister, Pawan Bansal. Rail minister was Pawan Bansal. It was found, ये है rail ministry. It was found that at the higher level appointments in rail ministry were done after taking money. Corruption के charge लगे थे. That the rail ministry, the senior level officers are corrupt, and it got exposed in media. मीडिया ने पूछा यहां पे अपॉइंटमेंट पैसे दे के हो रही है. Now people started the questioning the appointments. Who should take the blame now? Rail minister resigned. Pawan Bansal resigned. He said, I mean, of course, that he did not do voluntarily, unlike Lal Bahadur Shastri. इनको तो जबरदस्ती किया गया. But then later on he said, okay, I have my moral responsibility. If corruption is being seen here at the highest level under me, I take the blame. I resign. He did not say that, see, I did not take money, you catch the civil servant. उनको तो punishment मिलेगी. But who will face the people? Minister. He should not bring up the civil servant in front of people. इनको blame करो सर, मुझे blame मत करो. Do not ask me to resign. If civil servant, ये कहीं नहीं लिखा हुआ है. सुनो मेरी बात. Nowhere in the constitution it is written that we have to follow the principle of anonymity. मगर अभी आपने क्या लिखा? As in the parliamentary system, the basic principle or the presumption of the parliamentary system is that you are putting a whole ministry under a minister, and if there is something goes wrong, then he will take the blame. This is the basic presumption of parliamentary system. Government is responsible to the parliament. इसका मतलब क्या है? If something goes wrong under them, they will face the parliament. They will face the people. They will not tell the parliament, see, I did not do the work, you question the civil servant. Don't ask me to resign. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते हो. यही तो basic principle है parliamentary system का. Understood ना? Anybody, any confusion regarding this? Write down. However, today this concept, it's only a theoretical concept. Nowhere it is written in the constitution that minister and responsibility is there or anonymity is there. But ये तो basic presumption है parliamentary system का. Kind of. And you cannot force a minister just to resign on that ground only. अगर वो खुद resign नहीं करेगा तो उसके खिलाफ no confidence भी आ जाएगा, and the whole government will fall also. Yes, individual responsibility may lead to collective responsibility also, sir. है ना? गलत तो नहीं है ना? However, today this concept of civil servants anonymity or minister's responsibility or ministerial responsibility has undergone what? Undergone a dilution or change as visible from the coal scam case. Coal scam, you can write coal scam, no problem with that, but don't write Manmohan Singh. Okay, as with the coal scam case where the former coal minister passed on the blame to the coal secretary avoiding all the responsibilities for the wrong coal block allocations. Wrong coal block allocation. बताओ सर आप. मैं आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं. आई आस्क यू क्वेश्चन, use your wisdom and give the answer. Minister is actually not in charge. Whatever goes wrong in the department, as per the principle of anonymity, you put the blame on the minister. Is this thing right? Or if not right, what are the problems with the principle of anonymity? Putting all the blames of the disaster in the department on the minister and not on the civil servant. Let me tell you, it does not mean that the civil servant will not be punished. Civil servant will be punished, but by internal department. I am talking about the punishment given by the people. We have the principle of anonymity in which everything which goes wrong in the department, the blame will lie on the minister, not on the civil servant. What is the problem with this policy? Yes. A civil servant will know one thing, that people will not punish me. Let's do anything. In fact, he might actually do something wrong in connivance with the opposition party. जान के एक्सीडेंट कर देगा, खुद भी कूद जाएगा आखिरी मोमेंट पे, but then he will crash the train deliberately. He knows this thing that the blame will lie on the minister and minister might have to resign. She is finance secretary. Who will prepare the budget? She will prepare the budget in such a way that actually the budget might get defeated. And when the budget is defeated, who will go out? पूरी गवर्नमेंट जाएगी. किसका नुकसान हुआ? गवर्नमेंट. Who lost? Minister. So what I mean to say is that when you have this principle where you put all the blame on the minister, not on the civil servant, in that case, civil servant can endanger the government with vested interest. सरकार को खतरे में भी डाल सकते हैं जानबूझ के भी, deliberately also or non deliberately also. पहली चीज. Any other problem also which you see in the principle of anonymity? Means, is there any other problem whereby if you put the blame only on the minister, this is unjustified? वेरी गुड, बहुत बढ़िया. अभी आपने एक चीज और भी नहीं बोली है. सी दिस थिंग, दिस इज ट्रू. आई जस्ट ऐड टू दैट. टेक दिस केस. दिस इज रेल मिनिस्ट्री अंडर श्री शास्त्री जी. वो मिनिस्टर, रेल मिनिस्टर. देर आर 10,000 एम्प्लॉइज. 10,000 लोग काम करते हैं उनके नीचे. If these 10,000 people commit an error, or if 2-3 people out of 10,000 commit an error, then ठीक है, you can expect Shastri ji to take responsibility for their lack of performance. भाई 10,000 लोग ही तो हैं आपके नीचे, आप उनको भी संभाल नहीं पा रहे. You should go. You are not capable enough. ठीक है, justified. आज देखो, the rail ministry, which was this big under Shastri ji, today you know what is the size of rail ministry? It is the biggest ministry. Today, this is the size of rail ministry. And rail minister आज भी एक ही आदमी है. Today, you know how many people are working under rail ministry? 1 lakh are on the rolls of rail ministry. Baki indirectly there are so many people whose performance is related with the rail department, rail ministry. Can one person be blamed, or can he actually have that surveillance over 1 lakh people? आप 1 लाख लोगों को संभाल सकते हो क्या? 1 lakh people, you will definitely have 2-3 people who can endanger the government. Minister तो बहुत अच्छा था. The minister, rail minister was very good. He was working for the people 24/7. One fine day, and he was using his best available resources to prevent the accidents also in railway. One fine day, one person out of intentions or out of chance, he committed a crime or he crashed the train. Many people lost life. Now in that case, if you force the rail minister to resign, will you not lose a good minister also? और एक चीज और, होम मिनिस्टर. सी, और एक चीज और, ये देखो, अंडर शास्त्री जी रेल मिनिस्ट्री वाज वेरी सिंपल और नॉट? द लोकोमोशन वाज बेस्ड ऑन स्टीम इंजन्स. सिंपल ट्रेन चलती थी उस समय, कोई कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी नहीं थी. टुडे यू आर अबाउट टू ब्रिंग व्हाट? बुलेट ट्रेन्स. टुमारो इफ देयर इज अ कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इन बुलेट ट्रेन्स, they may not function well, or they might be brought at a higher prices. You will blame whom? The minister. Arey, minister is a layman. He knows only one bullet. समझ रहे हो? Bullet train is a complex technology. How can you blame a layman for a complex technology? उसको तो उसका know-how पता नहीं है. And here comes the role of education for minister. Now it's a high time we should have ministers who are educated. Manohar Parrikar, he's a defense minister, of course from IIT, but then of course he is educated enough. He can understand the tidbits of a defense deal. उसको समझ में आएगा that if we are not going for a particular plane and we are going for other plane, what can be the pros and cons? And you can ask question from him, he will give you the right answer also. And if something is going wrong, you can expect that he was becoming careless. Otherwise, he had full knowledge of the nitty-gritties, technicality. है कि नहीं है? So putting blame on these kind of educated people is justified. But how can you expect a layman to take charge of a ministry which is so complex in itself? You see the level of laymanish attitude of these people. Some time back it happened actually. This fellow was roaming around in the parliament. नाम भी लिखने की क्या जरूरत है? GST was in full force some time back. A debate was going on GST. One parliamentarian was roaming around in the parliament. और यादव जी से घूमते घूमते क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया किसी जर्नलिस्ट ने. A journalist was also roaming there. This is available on YouTube also, you can watch. He asked the question to this fellow MP. Sir, GST debate is going on. Yes, हमें पता है GST चल रहा है. What is the meaning of GST, sir? उनसे पूछ लिया, सर GST का मतलब क्या होता है? And let me tell you, the whole debate was going on. For number of days it went. अब वो तो जेब में डाल के घूम रहे थे. He said GST ये तो षड्यंत्र है. तो the reporter said, सर ठीक है षड्यंत्र है, but what is GST? Now he said, this is the चाल of opposition. मैं बता रहा हूं आपको. He insisted. उसको समझ में आ गया था कि इन्हें पता नहीं है. Then he said, sir, what is GST? Now getting cornered, answer तो दे नहीं था. He knew one thing, that G का मतलब तो good होता है, and S means service. He said, देखो GST ये है कि लोगों को अच्छी सर्विस दी जाएगी इसके थ्रू. Do you see this approach? He just built an answer. ये गुड नहीं होता, ये गुड्स होता है. गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स. एंड ही सेड जीएसटी ये वो चीज है जिससे लोगों को गुड सर्विस देंगे. एंड ही बिल्ड द आंसर. डू यू नॉट सी द काइंड ऑफ इमेच्योरिटी ही इज हैविंग अबाउट द होल थिंग? A big debate is going on in the parliament and you do not know even the full form of the particular issue. Leave aside the detailing of the issue. Now tomorrow when this fellow becomes the finance minister of this country, हो भी सकता है, you never know. कल को यही आदमी becomes the finance minister, the person who is not even knowing the full form of GST, and he is the finance secretary. Can he not easily fool him? Leave aside fiscal deficit, current deficit, ये सब तो बहुत बड़ी चीज है. He will make a budget which he knows might not get passed in the parliament. इतना complicated. मिनिस्टर को तो कुछ पता नहीं है. सर बजट बन गया, अच्छा लाओ साइन कर देंगे, खत्म. ठीक है सर. He will cause the whole government to fall down. ये प्रॉब्लम है anonymity की. When the minister himself is not educated enough, it might be unfair to expect him to take the responsibility of the whole government. पहली बात. Second, ministry itself is becoming complex day by day. It is becoming bigger day by day. Don't expect such a big ministry that one person can take charge of the whole ministry completely. If you do that, you are doing injustice. Third thing, if you become too much adamant on this approach कि छोटी सी भी गलती हो and we expect the resignation of the minister, then you might get the resignation, but then you also lose a good person. Fourth thing, he might not take initiative out of fear. Minister को ये बात पता है that for everything which I do wrong or everything which might go wrong with good intention, people will blame me, not the civil servant. He will stop taking initiative. छोड़ो यार, जो चल रहा चलने दो. He will not stop being creative for the fear of losing the seat. ऐसा सच में हुआ. See this. Have you seen the movie? Seher है sir, Seher. Okay. Arshad Warsi, yes. It's a movie based on the real incident. IPS officer in Uttar Pradesh, he took charge. And when he saw the crime in Uttar Pradesh, he proposed to the minister, Home Minister of Uttar Pradesh, sir, let's form a special team of officers who will have special powers by which they can go into any depth of Uttar Pradesh, arrest any goon or gangster without informing the local police. एक ऐसी पुलिस टीम बनाई जाए, special wing of police which will have the power to go into any depth of Uttar Pradesh, arrest anyone without informing the local police. अब होता क्या है, when as per the rules you have to inform the local police, but when you inform the local police, they inform the local goons और वो भाग जाते हैं, हाथ ही नहीं आते. So he said, sir, let's make a highly powerful wing in the police department of Uttar Pradesh by which they will have these kind of powers. The minister said, no, I will not allow you to do this, because what if tomorrow your team, they catch somebody who is politically connected or who is killed, who is actually politically connected, or somebody innocent gets killed out of mistake, ऐसा हो भी जाता है. Then you will not have nothing, you will not have anything to lose. I will lose my seat. इस डर की वजह से he turned down a very creative and a bold proposal. मना कर दिया उन्होंने. Though later he actually accepted that and it was implemented also. And this IPS officer himself lost his life. समझ रहे हो? But what I mean to say is that when you have this fear on your head, यार whatever I do for creative reasons so that people can benefit more, if it backfires, अगर ये नहीं चला, then I will lose my seat. Then I will not stop taking creative actions. Bold action लूंगा ही नहीं मैं. I'll just go on routine thing. This is one of the problem with following the principle of anonymity strictly. So there is a school of thought. अब लोग बोलने लगे that let's not put the blame only on the minister. Let's have some kind of arrangement by which we can see actually from case to case basis who is responsible and punish him accordingly, so that minister is not under constant fear and he can give his best. ठीक है sir? Right now. A school of thought, 10 minutes more, so be happy and write. A school of thought is actually against. A school of thought means some people, thinkers. A school of thought is actually against strictly, underline the word strictly, following or applying the concept of the concept of civil servants' anonymity or minister's responsibility. Because this way they feel that the civil servant may become irresponsible and even endanger the government. सरकार को गिरा भी सकते हैं. And even endanger the government for vested interests, for vested personal, vested vested, vested interests. Paragraph change. Moreover, when government functions were small, moreover, when government functions were small, civil servants' anonymity made sense. But when government is expanding, in new areas, नए डिपार्टमेंट खुल रहे हैं, in new areas which are quite complex also, which are quite complex and specialized also, how can we expect a layman, 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 how can we expect? Layman जानते हो? Yes, आम आदमी, who is not an expert. ठीक है? How can you expect a layman oblique politicians भी लिख लो. Politician तो layman होते हैं ना. Oblique politician to be able to handle a whole chain of civil servants well, or take all the blame of their action. In the paragraph change, it might also discourage whom? The minister. It might also discourage the minister to take bold or innovative actions for the fear of they backfiring, of the fear of they getting failed, decision fail हो गया तो, of the fear of they getting failed and he being blamed. This increases, वो किसी को काम करने ही नहीं देगा नीचे, खुद लेगा डिसीजन. This increases the tendency of centralization. You know what is centralization? Yes. Centralization means all the powers if concentrated here. सारी decision making power यहाँ है. I am not allowing the person below me to take the decision. This is centralization. क्योंकि I fear that if he takes a decision under me, he might be irresponsible and that may backfire. तो मैं इसे कोई डिसीजन लेने नहीं दूंगा. एंड दिस इज नथिंग बट सेंट्रलाइजेशन. सारी पावर मेरे पास. द होल पूरी मिनिस्ट्री. I got your point. See this thing. For example, I am the minister. Okay. I can give this power to the minister of state under me. MOS भी तो होते हैं ना इनके नीचे. कि भाई ठीक है, this area you take the decision at your own level. And do not bring every discussion to me where I should take the responsibility or I should get involved into it. But I will not allow him to take the decision. I will keep every decision for me. I will decide. I will not even allow the officers below me to decide on few things. हर चीज मैं खुद करूंगा. I will hold each and every power. Of course, proposal will be brought by you, but I will not allow you to take the decision at your level. आप अपने level पे नहीं लोगे. Now there is a tendency of decentralization, whereby powers are being delegated at the lower level. I'll discuss these things, delegation, decentralization, in separate class. ठीक है? अभी तो शुरुआत हुई है governance की, right? Right now. It increases the centralization tendencies. ये हो गया. अब मगर आपसे मैं सवाल पूछता हूं कि why at the first place, if we are criticizing the principle of anonymity so much, if we know that there are problems of putting the blame on the minister always, or putting the responsibility on the minister always, तो why at the first place we brought the system? कुछ तो logic होगा इसके पीछे. If देखो, if I have this principle where I put the blame or credit for success both on the minister only, and people appreciate and depreciate the minister only, they do not come in contact with the civil servant, what could be the basic logic or rationale behind the system? Yes. और कुछ? बहुत बढ़िया. This is also, हाँ बताओ सर, आप भी बताओ. This was said by her also. Very good points. हाँ जी. क्यों नहीं करा सकते? यही तो पूछ रहे हैं हम आपसे. यही तो पूछ रहे क्यों? नहीं, रूल ऑफ मॉब वाली बात नहीं है. दिस इज नॉट अबाउट पुटिंग देम इन पब्लिक. आप इसे पीटो. पब्लिक मतलब यही तो आपसे पूछ रहा हूं. व्हाई? आंसर इज गिवन. लिसन केयरफुली. सी दिस थिंग. He used the right word and अब आप ये देखो, नाउ यू हैव स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज. सब तैयारी कर रहे हो, कोचिंग भी लेने आ गए हो, एडमिशन हो चुका है, पेपर सब मिल चुके हैं. यू हैव स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग. नाउ दिस इज ओनली जुलाई, अगस्त, जुलाई में एडमिशन शुरू हुआ था. डिड यू नॉट टेल एवरीबडी दैट यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज? इफ नॉट दैट, बहुत बढ़िया. But then general tendency is this: once you take admission, you draw a big publicity. Sometime it is drawn by you, sometime it is imposed on you. Publicity तो हो ही जाती है. 4-5 people will know, and then they start telling everybody that he is or she is preparing for civil services. Some people, they themselves call for the publicity. उनका WhatsApp status देखो. Sometime I myself think, यार, when he became IAS, कल तक तो एक coaching ले रहा था. They put सत्यमेव जयते along with the share in the WhatsApp status as if they have actually become IAS officer. अभी तो बने नहीं है ना. Some write in the Facebook IAS, अपना नाम नीचे IAS. You feel shocked. ये कब हुआ? Publicity. अब इससे होता क्या है? Initially तो you get a pump boost. August also you get a boost. September में और अच्छा लग रहा है because the weather is also good. But then as you move forward and the exam is in June and you have reached April or May, problems start to creep in. April, you feel little bit pressure when people start calling you. Here, after 2 months, you have the exam or not? You said yes, yes. May, when these people start calling you again, June 7 को exam है ना? When on 3rd June they will call you, best of luck. Every best of luck dropped on you. Will it not become like a bomb? Hiroshima, Nagasaki. अभी तो syllabus cover भी नहीं हुआ है and he is asking me best of luck. क्या होगा मेरा? You only God knows. है कि नहीं है? And this kind of problem expectations से नहीं है. Problem is this. Undue expectations. You have started preparing. It will take time. After all, this is civil services exam. This is not class 6th or 7th examination. In one exam, you have to cover so many things. It has its own process. It will mature with time. You might take your own time, 1 year or 2 years. People expect that once you have appeared for it, you have to clear it in one go itself. वो burden बन रहा है फालतू का और नहीं. And when you actually should have been studying with relaxed mind on, let's say, 3rd June or 4th June or 5th, 6th June, होगा क्या? You will start entering into a kind of pressure which will take away your mind from studies and it will actually keep diverting you to other areas. उसको भी बता दिया है कि मैं prepare कर रहा था. Now he is asking me how is the preparation. Now only you know how is the preparation. Tension इतनी हो जाएगी that many people actually stop studying. Believe me. ये undue expectation है. Now the same thing can happen with the civil servant or not. You were preparing a rocket for ISRO. The minister put him in media. अभी rocket बना नहीं है. Minister got him to have a press conference in media. ये media के सामने बैठे हैं. Rocket model here, rocket model there. फोटो भी खिंचा ली उसके साथ में. I am preparing the next generation rocket for ISRO. बहुत अच्छा. Times now, Forbes वगैरह सब इंटरव्यू ले गए इनका. After 4 months he was to deliver the rocket. ठीक है, रॉकेट बना तो दिया. All the 4 months, for the first 2 months he was crazy about the publicity. Limelight इतनी मिल रही है. He was very happy. Remaining 2 months he is now tension. कुछ काम तो किया नहीं है. And the remaining 2 months will go in anxiety. What will people say to me if my rocket does not work? And on the day of the launch, actually when he had a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, सिर्फ धुआं निकला, the rocket was standing there itself. उड़ा ही नहीं ऊपर. ये इसलिए हुआ pressure, undue pressure of publicity, fear of failure, which crept into his mind because he got so much publicized in front of public. Had the minister given the press conference himself, or had the minister not exposed him in media before the work was done, he would have kept working at its own pace without the burden of expectation. अब ये problem हो जाती है. When you know that you will be punished for the act, or you will be rewarded for the act, that it will create a kind of anxiety in you, which takes away your mind from the work, and actually it creates undue expectation. और यही civil servant के साथ भी तो हो सकता है कि नहीं हो सकता? After all, they are also human. So this system was designed so they should be kept away from the limelight or the fear of failure, so that they can concentrate on work only. Second thing, as she said, when the minister is in charge, भाई मंत्री जी के पास सारी पावर है. He can pressurize the civil servant or not. ये काम करो. The civil servant says this is wrong. The minister will say no, I have ordered you to do this. Informally बोल रहा है वो. Civil servant will do this. Tomorrow when that gets exposed, पकड़ी गई वो चोरी, who will be blamed? Civil servant. But thankfully we have the system of anonymity. System तो anonymity का है. अगर anonymity नहीं होता तो, had the principle of anonymity would not been there, who would have been blamed? The minister would have passed on the blame on the civil servant. उसको पकड़ो, मैंने नहीं किया है. But thankfully we have this system whereby if a wrong is caught, generally the minister is blamed first. Had you not been having the system, the minister would have easily passed on the blame on the civil servant. मैंने नहीं किया, इसने किया. Though he would have got the work himself done from him. Third thing, since the minister was people's representative, he has the duty to answer people. जिसने, the wedding planner took the responsibility or not? Here the minister took the responsibility of running the affairs of the department. So whosoever took the responsibility of running the department from people will answer people. ये तो natural है. Fourth thing, Civil servants are thousands. Minister is one. Now, if something goes wrong, you should not you have a clarity who should be questioned? So you should have one person who is minister. Did I not give the example of chef? Joy cannot question 1,000 chef. He can question one wedding planner. That makes the process of accountability easy. You cannot question 1,000 or lakhs of employees working under you who was at fault. सीधा minister को पकड़ो. That will make the accountability process easy. ठीक है sir? I gave the benefits of having accountability, anonymity, and the problems of anonymity. इसको लिख लो, and this is the end of it. The very rationale means reason. The very rationale for having the principle of civil servants anonymity or MR means minister's responsibility, was that this way the civil servants get insulated from the potential fame or defamation that may come with their good work or bad one. Also it gives people the clarity as whom to question in case of something going wrong in administration. It also prevents the minister from influencing the civil servant to do something wrong and then escape the responsibility to do something wrong and then escape the responsibility and then escape bach jana and then escape the responsibility if it is caught. And the last point, since the minister is people's representative, who took the task of managing the administration from people directly, he should only be answerable to the people. Sorry, not answerable, accountable. Directly.